Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back again for another week of the NECC Collegiate. I'm Muhcreedy, joining you from across the pond, and my wonderful co-caster is going to be the adorable Light Rose. How are you doing, Light? Are you having a good time?
Yeah, we're finally getting things kicked off here. It's a different match than we expected, but we're still raring to go tonight. We are gonna have you win versus Marion. And both of these teams are looking to get something done. Both of them, we had one win in the first week for UN, and Marion, their only win is off of a forfeit. So both of these teams definitely have something to prove. But because we're late, we want to try to get straight into this. Map bans, we gotta have some place to play, Creedy.
Yeah, well, shockingly enough, we do need to play it on a map, and we're going to have a pretty bog standard setup coming through, but that makes sense. Two teams, unknown quantities, they have a lot to prove, and it makes a lot of sense with them wanting to go to Clubhouse, Villa, and Kaftoskiewski to finish things off. Well, why? Because these are the maps where you tend to see a lot of the more default styles of play come through. You don't expect to see anything too crazy, and because of that, you can kind of go into it knowing exactly what you're going to go up against. And because of that, well, then you can say, well, we'll just do the basics better.
Yeah, and maps. So we've already saw over in APAC, we saw the first skyscraper map being played. So, things could possibly be changing. Possibly coastline might be out of there. We might see the addition of new maps, but for now, you're still going to kind of have this standard here. I believe we're going to have Marion on the defense for that first map. So they could have the advantage on whether they want to start possibly on Gym Bedroom, shake things up here. But overall, we don't exactly know what these teams are going to bring to the table.
No, we don't. And I feel like this is something that we're going to see a lot of actually. Because while you say, Miriam, they may have the opportunity to go and use that defensive advantage that a lot of defenders, a lot of teams tend to see on the map like Clubhouse at least. That's this attacker rework. It's repick. It's gonna have a lot of implications. I mean, they're gonna be looking at setups on the certain site. They're gonna be saying, well, this is one, this is the other. And well, you can just work around it. I mean, you pick up a flash picks, well, you realize you've got to bring something to deal with that. The six pick is gone. Only attacker repick remains, and we are going to be jumping into our first match of this best of three.
Oh, and you can already see that beautiful new band screen going through. It's so clean and covering the entire thing. It is so nice to the eyes, and I love it. Ace going out, you win, taking that out. So that is definitely a we don't usually see something like that, so we're probably gonna see more Hibana, more Thermite, Maverick, and it's gonna force teams to either use Hibana from the outside if they wanna go from onto basement trying to attack the position, but with Maverick gone, yeah, you have definitely pigeonholed into that, Thermite Hibana combo.
Yeah, it's one of those you really can't avoid. You need to bring that Habano 110,000% because when you think towards that bottom floor, well, you need that kitchen hatch being opened up. When you think about the top floor, well, there's a lot of variety that Habana brings that Thermite just simply doesn't have. If you bring both of them, though, then that might be something else like. Mira, though, will be banned off the board as well, and following that will be Castle, probably looking over towards that gym bedroom side.
Yeah, you win. Definitely going with these atypical bands because Castle is usually pretty standard on something like Gym Bedroom. So, teams might have to go with something like Inaruni. They might have to dedicate a lot more just try to defend the situation. But with Thatcher going on through, Valkyrie Kaid making it through, those might be things that are going to be possibly game changers. You can already see with Wapper Boy on the Thatcher political, having the Kaid along with the Bandit, that might, get trying to get that CCTV wall open might really be a challenge, but not a great start going on here. Frosty
Mm.
already unfortunately disconnected.
The biggest challenge of the game, actually, right here. Trying to get everybody into the game, into it in the first place. I mean, one thing I do want to talk about though is we are seeing this Goyo being brought out, and we are seeing this rework that comes through with the Goyo. These shields can be placed in a lot more versatile positions. They can be used in a completely different way. I'm pretty sure we've just actually seen one placed on the side of that wall, and that's something that really gets to me. Is you can't do that with a shield. But what you can do now have them on the wall gets opened up, you have that Planktonal, you have that setup, you're ready to deal with things and combine it with the Kapkan Trap, well, that's a lot of area denial for a long period of time. The round, though, will be starting off, and whether it's replayed yet, well, we'll find out, but regardless, Light Rose, yeah, it looks like we're gonna restart. Or, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I think, however going on here, we might just kind of be going through. I don't know how this round is going to go, but we're just going to pretend like,
Yeah.
things are going as normal. And if things are going as normal, that's not good for you in here because you're already going to
Mm.
have claws up in rafters. But yeah, there's a lot of confusion going on here, but I think there is a little bit of a mutual agreement
Yeah.
going through or making sure that, it is allowed because, we still have a rule set to go through. But
If not, this is gonna be a horrible start for you, Mine.
oh my, just what is if you're just tuning in, this is how Rainbow Six Siege is played. So
This is
the
peak.
goal is to kill your teammates as soon as possible.
This is peak Siege.
It is. You may not like
Yeah.
it, but it's what peak performance looks like, Muhcreedy.
My favorite part is I'm pretty sure this is past the actual prep. This is past the time that you can actually call it. I think the teams have agreed to a gentleman's agreement, I think, is the way we're going, but I don't know. Um,
I don't know
yeah,
either.
I am too tired to be pocket admin greedy. I won't lie.
I mean, to be honest, if they're saying, okay, it's not allowed, what you could is
Mm,
essentially Marion could just have this round. If it's not allowed, if you're saying
mm,
no, it was past the prep phase, so you have to play the round out. If they're truly wanting to be like a gentleman's agreement, then Ewan could just give the round over to Marion, and we essentially start back at 0-0, -2 rounds. And it's not gonna hurt you
mm.
really in the long run. But we're getting the ruling hammer. The judge is coming in hopefully to figure some things out.
Well, at least basically when it comes to how we can actually look at this, for the Marion side of things, we can basically say, okay, well, we've just had a look at their setup. We have an idea of the operators they bring, the setup that they use. While that may be around that we've just lost a little bit, well, that's okay because we've got that information. The next time you come to this site, expect those same operators. You can work around it. You can plan for it just that little bit better and a little bit of the same for the defensive side as well. Not necessarily as beneficial, though, I think.
I think this is possibly one of the best times that you could have, something where you're going to have an undetermined amount of time because this is a new season. There are
Mm,
so many things to talk about. And I think the first thing I want to bring up is do you think attacker repick is going to be used at all in this map? Do you
yes.
or do you think it's going to be something that it's like we're going to see it maybe 2 seasons down the line when teams have finally started to figure out truly how to use it?
No, I think Attack of Repick is coming in hard, and it's coming in fast, and it's here to stay. Quite simply, the six pick we saw how important and how effective it was using it in rounds. Well, this is just giving it to a whole attacking side. I mean, the defensive side do not have that option anymore, which kind of locks them in a little bit. But when you look at the attackers, you can look at that. You can look at these defenders that are locked in, and you can say, well, this has been, for the most part, a defender-sided game. Let's even those odds a little bit.
And then we saw it a little bit the Goyo, and I am loving to see Goyo being brought already because it basically means that you're now running Goyo for his gadget, what he was actually intended for, instead of just yeah, he's got a shield that might hurt you if you play a little too stupid, and I love seeing that change that you're gonna have this massive fire all over the floor.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had that anyway, but it's gonna be in such a different way, isn't it?
hmm hmm And the Vulcan as well. The one-time sites, we've got those as well. We get to see what everybody's specific site is, how everybody feels on certain guns, whether we're going to see the holographic continue to reign, or maybe the reflex beat the Russian reflexes, everything like that.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much options and varieties that I am way too confused to really get into that
Overwhelmed.
much. Overwhelmed, yeah, I think that is the word. But it looks like we are going to be restarting this game, and it looks like we're going to be getting into it soon. but not entirely there just yet. Skyscraper, we've kind of got to talk about that light.
Mhm. But I mean, we can go to a break. We figure out how we're gonna figure out this because we don't know how long the rehost is gonna go for because all these teams need to get on in here, need to make sure their connections are stable and secure. And with that, we will go to a short break, and we will see you right after. All right, welcome back to Marion versus Yuwin Esports. We are back on Oregon. There was no previous round. You made it up. It was all a hallucination in your mind, isn't that right, Muhcreedy?
Yes, welcome to the very first round in this entire best of three series. Anything that you have or haven't seen before does not count. It's all a figment of your imagination. And most importantly, if you talk about it, we'll be having words after the show. But we have to get through this show very importantly. I think that's the way to go. Like, we're going to be heading to that CCTV room again. We're going to see a very similar lineup coming up from the defensive side and from the attacking as well. Most notably, this Thatcher Thermite combo, which has got through thanks to that defensive and attacker ban phase of Ace and Maverick. Clearly saying that Blowtorch is a much bigger problem than those EMPs brought by Thatcher.
Yeah, but usually that Thatcher is going to be, I think, vitally important at this point because now you have two denials. You've got the Mew Jammers, you've got
Mm.
the Bandit batteries, and you've got these Alibi Prismas, Jaeger ADSs, and Thatcher is just going to simply be able to throw that down there, disable it, and that means that Pains should be able to get through that because unless Laughman is gonna try to go for a bandit trick, which we have not seen in forever at this point, it feels like it's a relic of the past
Mhm.
that, Laughan that wall should be pretty easy to open, like I said, unless Laughan's gonna try to go for that. Rafters already, Political's gonna try to get in there as claws, sneaks that drone
Ooh.
all the way up there, and Frosty does have an angle on the rotate, so they have to be very careful that no one gets caught. As here we go, we are seeing the Thatcher MP go out, no tricking occurring. It is straight as an arrow, and now that wall is open 30 seconds into the round.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is having that garage open, having Frosty covering that angle means Political will be taken away. Because of this, well, suddenly that rotation from Raptors is cut off. That extra angle the attack defensive side can have is taken away. And suddenly, a lot of opportunities on the board for the side of Marion University there to make it clear those ADSs. As a refrag will come through, Frosty will fall, but a lot of damage has already been done by the attack. Utility goes through, there's the Goyo shield popping immediately. Not even a shield anymore, dare I say, just a little goodie bag at this point. But that raft is being opened up, like, it's just such a massive, massive hole, and I feel like there should have been the reinforcement on that wall.
Yeah, that's gonna leave a lot open. His Pains is gonna take a lot of damage. The thing is, there's a lot of time that Marion can use to really figure this out, figure out how they
Mm.
want to attack this. Rafters is clear for the taking as long as this attack is, they're not just gonna bum rush up there, and they should be pretty fine. But as you can see, most of UWin are going to be on this western side. The construction is being controlled by freezing lava, but the engagement between them and Icy could change things. And there we go. It is going to be UWin up one member as we have reached about that 60-second margin.
Yeah, very, very excited coming out from freezing lava, but Thwapper Boy getting that red ping will be looking for this frag. Will be looking to get a kill and getting a plant down, but the defensive side, they still have a lot of power over the situation, including the time and this player advantage. Claus is going to get taken down, and while we will see Thwapper Boy taking a little bit of damage, it looks like the denial of the plan is going to be coming through. Pains, though, finds Bucket Hat, takes away the Jaeger. Ragnar has a refrag with 30 seconds left as the rebuff does come through. But you've got to get on the side. You've got to get through that rotate as Freezing Lava pushes through. He finds one, he finds two. And UWin Esports, they're going to be taking that first round.
And there we go. Freezing starting out with a 3K of all things on the CCTV side. So even though you did have Marion get the opening engagement, having you win coming back with Freezing Lava, able to hold construction, able to really lock it down, even though this attack was able to get control of Rafters, they just weren't able to use it to their advantage. They weren't able to peak at the right times. And suddenly you are down. You're going over to Jim Bedder. You win is not going to have the castle though. We're not having it's a pretty important operator, some say, on this site. Instead, it's going to be, a pulse, a cap can, some
Mm.
different operators than we usually see. But after all, UWin do have this round to their name, and they've got some strats that they are ready to use.
Yeah, I keep reading it as you wine. So I
It
mean,
does
like,
look like that, doesn't it?
wine bottle kind of coming to mind. But one thing they're not doing is whining about the situation with this ban because I mean, look, the operators they brought out, Pulse, Capcan, Cade. Well, they all have one thing in common. It's a little block of C4 that they could carry around, they could throw, and with very good direction from an operator with wall hacks, can be very, very deadly on a site like this. So I feel like this is where we're really going to see U1 Esports really show their strat book. They weren't the bot players to ban out the castle, so this is where we're going to see them shine. Can they deal with this ban? Can they deal with all this? They didn't go down the route you said of bringing the Aruni. They've gone for a completely different approach, and that's the vertical approach.
I do want to mention this though, because it's very subtle that Pains and Icy, were on the Habana Thermite, and they actually were
Mm.
swapping. So Icy was on that Thermite. They went over to the Sledge, and Pains was on the Habana and went over to the Thermite. So we are seeing the
Oh.
attacker repick in action already. A Goyo canister is going to be destroyed. So that's about 20-30 seconds because that fire lasts a long time. It covers a large area, and
Mm.
Frosty just not careful enough. They're going to take a little bit of damage. Right now, you can see these defensive gadgets are kind of doing their job. Even though this wall is open, they're just very tense trying to go forward here.
Yeah, that's something I've just seen that I really want to talk about is look at that Goyo shield. Bucket Hat, though, wants me to look at them, and as they pick up a double, well, they truly do deserve it. To Apple Boy looking to find a refrag, looking to take away Freezing Lava, the 3K from the last round, not coming through just yet. But that Goyo shield, look at that bullet hole. You can't get a drone through. It has to go through that breach. That's a lot of freedom to play behind. And when you look at the Twitch on the board, that Twitch realistically was neutered by that Goyo shield. It's bulletproof. You can't get rid of it. You have to use explosive utility. I really like that. Regardless, though, with a minute 20 left on the clock and Thwapper Boy trying to find another head to get something, Freezing Lava's going to go for a swing, gets that fourth kill of this game, and well, it's all down to Pains and Claws. Not really able to do that much from these windows. We're having 1 minute on the round, and Bucket Hat takes a little bit of damage.
Flawless in the making, and just as I say that, I get cursed. Political is going to go down, and Bucket Hat, I got to be careful of this window. They're going to fire some shots when no one's watching it, and there we go. It is going to be a 1v3. It's just up against Claws. They're essentially going to have to do a ace clutch at this point, a 1v3, but yeah, with diffuser not in their hands, they're going to have to go and get it. No information, so much against them that yeah, Laughfan knows exactly where they are. This round is essentially completely gone, and you could pad stats here, find some more kills to establish your dominance on the leaderboard. Yeah, deploy a Claymore, I guess, at that point, because Claus is going on and immediately gets taken down. And so already going up 2-0, and if they're able to win this basement site, then that really sets them up for success past this third round.
Mm. Yeah, realistically, you find that halfway mark, then you get that first round, and you've got that 40 split that a lot of teams really aim for on this map. And if you can keep riding with it, then that just makes life even better. But getting that first full rotation, that's kind of the dream because it proves to yourself, it proves to the other team you can win these rounds, you can win these sides, you know how to play your defensive side. And for you, win esports, well, you're at that point already. You've shown that you know how to play. You just have to lock it out in the basement. A lot of teams really enjoy this, but with the castle being banned out, oh, it's not even basement.
I know, yeah.
Bar stage. Let's be honest, it's bar stock. It's always going to be bar stock to
Wait.
me. Oh, right. Okay. So, Light, why don't you explain what's going on here?
No, it's gone. Like, I don't. It's the strategy is gone. they
Oh,
tried.
right. Yeah.
They tried to do the really sneaky, like, guys, no, the bomb is up here, but we're gonna go downstairs. That's where the bomb is. Please,
I
like, go
think
there. But
I think the big problem with that has got to be the fact that in a lot of teams attacking this bottom floor site, they get control of
yeah.
this exact area.
Well, here's the second problem, Creedy, is that attacker
Mhm.
repick now encourages actual droning, because you want to
Mm.
know, what this defense is bringing, where the site is, how you want to position yourselves to win the round. So you're really not helping yourself there. So Ewan kind of threw away around 20-30 seconds of that prep phase. Now they're going to
Mm.
get it back, but it is just kind of something that we can chuckle upon, as already Frosty
Oh.
and Pains find one. Marion, that is going to be a good start, as they need this one round to give themselves a little bit of a momentum boost.
Yeah, just 2 kills on the board immediately. That's just something. You've given yourself a really good start. Each of these rounds have started off with Marion getting that opening pick, and honestly, it's something where you need to see more of it. They need to be able to follow up on it. I'm losing track of myself, but I'm focusing on this gameplay right now, and definitely nothing audio based that I like. Right now, the Pains with the shotgun is going to be trying to take this gunfight. Ragnar takes the win with the ACS 12, looks for the second player, but Thwapper Boy is trying to win it out. Lafan able to start to even things up, a 3 versus 3 now, like we haven't even hit the halfway mark. But Thwapper Boy is going to be crouched. Standing up will be the death of them. But that's going to be Claws coming through the F2 from that kitchen. Finds that kill, keeps the initiative in favor of you in esports. Or Marion esports, sorry. I'm very confused. One player left on the defense is Freezing Lava. He's going to be able to find IC.
I think the important part of that round is Ragnar won the debate of slugs over shells in that
Mm,
situation, and
mm.
yeah, the sound we are gonna have hopefully the sound fixed after this round, but in freezing lava they're gonna have to complete a 1v2 clutch. They're gonna be able to down Thwapperboy as this diffuser is going down all the way back in pool. The ping is going out, and you can see the yellow ping is there. Freezing lava. Are they going to try to defuse? They are going to go on to it. Is the information there that they have? Claus is going to have to push up, but freezing lava, all they need is that time that they have. And it is going to be the third round going over to UN, and Marion just kind of hucked that one out the window.
Ballistic looked around and basically say, well, Marion, it didn't really work out the way you exactly wanted it to, but you got that plant down. You got those opening picks. That was a much better round. The refrags were there. These roamers, you were doing the best way possible. You're doing the best way to deal with these roamers. You were getting these cutoff plays. You were getting these refrags, and I'm really excited to see that because Miriam, the first time I saw them, I believe it was the first game that we done, and there was a lot of benefits. There was a lot of improvement throughout that series alone. And I feel like it's just a case of seeing them warm up. I
Mhm,
feel like we
mhm.
can see a lot more from Marion than what we've seen in these 3 rounds. I don't think this tells the whole storyline.
Oh, completely. And it's just that there's a lot that can come down to that last round, but I think, it's just the end. It's just not setting up even a singular drone that can hear the audio, because it felt like Claws, the way that they reacted was
Hmm.
just completely out of, "Oh, I think somebody is there. I better go up," instead of, "Yes, somebody is there. We have confirmation. Stop stop the defuse." And that is something that it's
Hmm.
kind of something in retrospect you can look back on, but a lot of teams, they'll have a drone, and it feels just like when you have these post plant situations, setting something up like that, it doesn't feel mandatory, but it feels like it gives you a much higher chance of success.
I do want to bring up the fact that they had Thwapperboy downed
That is true.
because
Human drone.
realistically, in that situation, playing the 1v1, you're a drone. You're not getting revived. You're a drone. Get that information. You definitely had the audio cue, in my opinion. From that position, you should have had the audio cue unless there was a bug. So I feel like, yeah, it was a little bit thrown. However, like I said, I've still got to back Marion on this one. I feel like there's a lot of positives in there. They can keep on riding it, and they could do quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the hard part about this is now you are going to have you win. They have gone through the 3 site cycle. The first round that they won, which was CCTV, they can go back to,
Mm.
or they could go down to basement, because bar stage we went to, they did not touch basement. Actually, they did touch basement. They were like, "We're going basement, guys." But no, they can go basement for real, try to outmaneuver their opponents when it comes to that. But overall, you're going to have a hard time trying to stop this 3 round series from going to 4, 5 rounds if you're not going to start winning, CCTV, the site that you already went to essentially for the third time now.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big win condition. And coming into this fourth round, this is where we do need to see the improvements I talked about. We do need to see these roam clears really starting to come in huge. I feel like this was one of the better rounds that we saw from Marion, though. They took advantage of quite a few things. For example, the garage wall not being reinforced, so they had Frosty on the cutoff very quickly. They had a player over towards the CCTV window. That breach was open fast. I feel like a bit of pressure over towards either garage or over towards construction
Mhm.
once they got that opening pick. They could have gone for a plant. They just started to stall out a little bit for me. That was the big problem the last time we saw this site.
And they need to really be careful of how they try to figure themselves out if they can take the map control, because remember, they took rafters, but they still weren't really able to use it. They were just kept getting
Hmm.
shot from red stairs, they kept getting shot from cash, and you still had freezing lava over in construction. They really didn't use the map control that they had, and then suddenly they were just backed into a corner, I think both literally and mentally.
Yeah, I feel like that was very much the case because we saw a number of times they had that rotation, they had that entry into sight, but the big problem was they didn't really use that much out of it. They had that position, but they were letting the defenders dominate the power. They were dominating which way it
Mhm.
went, if that makes sense. So we saw a Vector being pre-fired through that rotation, and while Freezing Lava pushed up, was able to swing through and find those kills. So it's little things like that where I feel we need to see a bit more momentum as well. And we can see a fireball explode under Marion. But we got to get that spark light.
Yeah, it's gotta start sometime, and no better time to start like the present round 4, as you and they are gonna go to CCTV cache. They're just gonna ignore basement, and Marion kind of have to, wonder, are they gonna go basement? Are they gonna go CCTV? But I think the attacker repick just kind of throws that suspense out the window when you can literally change all your attacker lineups. So I think that is actually something to mention, is
Mm.
that surprise sites are kind of irrelevant now. You cannot really surprise your opponent with a site anymore.
I mean, you can with kind of the approach and the way that you play it, but in terms of
Attackers must
operators,
locate and
no.
defuse bombs.
You really can't. You can't come in and say, "Well, you have the entire wrong operator lineup for this site," because
Attackers have located a bomb.
they'll just change it. Um, returning to this site does seem like they're gonna be in construction. They've got to rotate. They've got a couple of reinforcements done, but hmm, I'm interested.
Okay, we're being told that there's once again
10
no
seconds till
audio,
insertion.
McCready. Once again,
Well,
we are
5 seconds left.
for the
we'll make
third
our own. We'll
time.
make our own.
Oh,
Friendlies are moving
Attackers,
to defuse the bomb.
start.
no, that was the one thing that we could hear, McCready.
Right, we gotta do footsteps. This is an ASMR stream now.
Oh, please. It is gonna get very irritating very quickly if we're gonna hear the
My lord. But let's do a little bit of explaining what's happening, giving some audio cues based on our voices, purely because we can see exactly what's happening. Now, Political is trying to K-claw that wall. It won't be caught in time for that breach to go off if it's done properly. Yeah, that wall has been opened up by the attacking side. They do have control of that rafters rotate yet again. That garage player, if they are there, will be cut off. This means Marion, they already have that opening. They need to get into the site. The question is, what are they going to do with it, Light?
And Frosty is just in garage. You are going to be able to spot out the Jaeger of Buckethead, who's going to immediately skedaddle on over. But this is what I talked about earlier. They were able to get rafters, which is usually a very powerful position
Hmm.
because it allows direct access into sight. You can see in red stairs, usually see into cache, or at least the doorway of cache. But Thwapper Boy is just going to sneak on in as well. They're only missing the diffuser, so this could go very wrong, though, as now Thwapper Boy has been taken out. Red Stairs control is gone, but as Freezing Lava is taken out as well, there could be a possible refrag fest here as Froste sees the very, very tip of the barrel. But Siege timing at its best, ladies and gentlemen, right there, as Frosty is going to move right
A
as
bomb has been
Ragnar
located.
peaks.
Yes, and looking at the time, it is starting to tick down. So Pains is able to find a kill onto Ragnar. Taking away that cap can will finally finish off that duel. But Lafan, sorry, is behind. Icy finding that double kill. The side of Marion, they're going for their second plant in this game. They're going to be able to make it happen. But Lafan's over trying to make something, but will be taken away and hands the Icy the triple kill in this round. That Captain Trap will be giving a little bit of help, but it's going to be Claws who shuts things down. And we will see Marion pick up their first round. I've got to be honest, that speed, that aggression, and more importantly, I think it's the fact that you didn't want to play Rafters. They didn't contest it at all, and they knew that Marion came from that position.
Even stealing kills, even in death, McCready, that hurts.
Mm,
That the one kill that you had is just essentially gone. But
yeah.
I mean, Marion taking that time to realize that they were able to win the run around, and even Marion's like, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, unfortunately, we cannot control the audio as much as we would like to immediately fix all the audio in Rainbow Six Siege and every other game. We just kind of have to just kind of gotta deal with it.
Look, if we
Greedy.
had the power to do that, like, I'm pretty sure in year 7 we would have done that by now.
Yes.
All right.
Guys, in the code, there's just something that says audio fix or not, and Ubisoft has just had the or nots. They forgot to go fix that. They forgot to delete the not part.
It's
So,
like the caster button where they forgot to put the start game bit in.
they did, yeah. We usually keep that button right next to us, but
Hmm.
we love to talk endlessly, don't we? Like we have today.
Yeah, thankfully we've had that opportunity. What we are going to try and do is a little bit of a very technical fix over there. Hopefully this will work. We're going to be jumping back into this game, and with the first win coming through for Marion, they're going to have to make it happen over towards Gym Bedroom. They've done it before. They didn't win that round. In fact, they really struggled to get inside the building, didn't they, Light?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I'm sorry, Creedy. I'm just laughing at the fact that we're having this where it's like trying to fix the audio by having, the observer leave, try to see if things are fixed, which as we can see the shotgun blast not registering. It is not, but we are it is funny. You have to admit that it is very funny just to have all this occur.
Yeah, right.
It just keeps happening too. Like we're not allowed to have a nice, peaceful, no audio problems, no funny rounds. Just welcome to the new season, everybody.
It just reminds me of when I was
10
young,
seconds left
very
before
young,
insertion.
and I would play on my DS, and I'd hear my dad coming up the stairs. I just put it underneath the covers on mute, and it was always on mute.
Attackers
It has that same kind of energy, I think.
Did you never have the audio accidentally leave, and when your DS would go to sleep, you just hear Mario go bye bye, and your dad would be like, "What was that?"
I was
You ever
actually
had
good
that
at it,
happen?
so no, but very,
Oh, we
very
got a game. We
interesting.
got a gamer in the production here.
Yeah, well, I'd hope so. Marion are looking to be those gamers, and they do have that heavy roaming presence. That wall will get opened up, meaning Bucket Hat is going to have a very, very hot escape. Just showing doing the only piece of damage so far, but it's giving away a lot of information for both the attack and defense. Lafan is nearby, has that shotgun, like you said, and will be able to take away the drone if they
A
could
bomb
hit it.
has been located.
Actually, something to notice is I think Pulses when he pulls up the heart scanner, it got
It's
a little
changed,
bit
yeah.
of a little bit of a heart monitor, which is kind of cool. You're not looking at a black screen, but a lot of little changes, that aren't mentioned, like the
Oh.
blue that comes up when you're spectating. But we could see something happen through the wall. Frosty's going to move, but not taken out by Bucket Hat. Great job, great communication by Ewan. His Bucket Hat is going to find their third of the round. As Freezing Lava is going to interrupt that ace, but it's not even going to matter as this should be Ewan's round through and through. And there's even going to be a team kill.
Yeah, and okay, right. Halfway through the round, and right now we're looking at Pains left all by their lonesome outside towards Jacuzzi. Got a lot of questions. What went wrong? What do I do? How can we bring this back? It looks like it's gonna be a 3-1. It looks like it's gonna be a 4-1. I can give it a go, but we're in the same position last round. The pulse is there. They have that information. They have the update from moving to Nighthaven for all my average lore enjoyers. It's not really going to work. I feel like this is the moment where you talk with the team, you think about what happened, what went wrong, and I think a lot of it is seeing this pulse on the board again, falling victim to it, and not really wanting to bring an IQ.
Yeah, it's hard to bring IQ because she really has fallen out of relevance. We have not seen an IQ because a lot of it is just communication. We're going to see if we don't really need much IQ to point out where the bandit batteries are when
Hmm.
you can just go underneath, shoot at the floor. But no pulse is actually going to be on this defensive side for now. Instead, it's going to be a couple changes. We're going to see an Echo and a Valkyrie back onto bar. So last time we were here, it should have been Marion's round. They lost the post plant, but a lot of information on this defensive side that it's going to make that a little bit harder.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, it's one of those games, I think. I think I've
Bomb
just killed it
located by
completely. I'm
attackers.
sorry for that line.
What? No,
Yeah,
it's hard to the awkward silences sometimes that just occurs even, no matter what, if you're getting into a round, everything like that. No audio just makes it so much worse.
join us
Attackers
at
have
the
located a
NECC
bomb.
too
You can
for some
feel it.
silent contemplation.
We need some royalty-free
10
music
seconds left before
over the
insertion.
sounds of gunfire and death.
Well,
5 seconds left
there
before
is none.
insertion.
There's a lot of
Oh,
lot
true,
of
there is no
royalty-free music.
gunfire.
There's no sound of gunfire and death, but there is a round starting. 3 minutes on the clock. Immediately, Marion, they want to be springing into action. Something I've really liked is they get into their action stations very, very quickly. Frosty constantly by that garage wall on a CC attack. The attack, like Thwapper Boy Pains, constantly over towards that garage breach, ready to open things up. And you can tell right now that they have spotted this player in rafters. Payne's going to be moving forward with the diffuser, a little bit risky, but we'll allow it. I see though is not having a royalty-free, carefree time. Is
Yeah.
a little hot.
It's too hot to handle. As Pains is still being pretty careful. Bucket Hat, ever since we kind of got that reset, you can see 4 kills on the board. They are not aware. They're going to take out the yokai, but at the expense of their own life. Freezing Lava is going to find the first kill. So you get a lack of information on both sides. You lose a pair of eyes and you lose a drone that can hop on the ceiling. But overall, that is definitely going to be positive for you. And because the diffuser is now in lounge, so somebody's going to have to go get that. And you don't know if Freezing Lava is still directly around the corner. A lot of things can go
Yeah.
wrong here for Marion. But if Ewan doesn't play this carefully, they could definitely be the victims.
Yeah, very, very difficult position to be in now. Frosty is going to be jumping in. And remember, there's still one of those yokais on the board. Now, these are the most powerful gadgets in Rainbow Six Siege. They can jump.
Whoa.
Well,
that is definitely crazy.
Yeah, but realistically, they can stop that plank going down immediately.
Attackers have
Frosty,
recovered
the
their defuse.
trigger discipline, though, over towards that stage, waiting for the rest of the team to get in position. Aware that there is a lot of problems. There's a proximity mine there. It's going to go off, and suddenly that gunfire's going to come through. But Frosty and Icy, they're going to find their first kills. Things are going to start to crack off with the sound of a bang, and one that's been left on mute. 50 seconds left. Freezing Lava with a Vector is going to be looking to stop whatever push is coming through. The downs come through. The aggression is there. Klaus is nearby with that F2 ready to cause some problems. It's going to be Frosty, though, getting taken away by Freezing Lava. Staying on those stairs, that's all you have to do. You know where the diffuser is. You're going to find Thwapper Boy as well. A triple kill on the board. You're going to start sprinting forward. And then the question, why are you sprinting? Taken away by IC. And now a 2 versus 2. Enemy detected will come through and gives away that information. The plant can go down for the side of Marion, but Lafan gets away with the C4 going out.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, somebody has to grab the diffuser, so only you're now going to have to be designated to the diffuser, but dropped on the floor. Bucket Hat, and we are going to see you win come out an extremely chaotic 20 seconds left, but the positioning and the lack of knowing that somebody was there, even though the position was given away only 10 seconds before, it's going to be you win up 5-1, and they are only 2 rounds away from completely securing this map.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the I think it's time for a nice little PSA light where we start to talk about the importance of flank drones or nomads or zero cameras, which are all on the board at the moment. I mean, it's happened quite a few times where they've just been caught off guard by a lack of information, and it's not okay at all. I
Protect
appreciate
your
this is
bombs from
collegiate.
being
This is teams
defused by
that may
attackers.
not be operating at the highest level of Rainbow Six competitive play. But if you're looking to improve as a team, flank cameras are arguably one of the most important parts of that improvement. You need to have your backs covered, your plants covered, and ultimately as much as you can get covered. And bringing operators like Nomad, Jackal, Zero, just anything really. Just something that has that little bit more information can cause so much,
10 seconds to
so much
insertion.
benefit.
Yeah, what are the changes coming out
5 seconds to
on the
go.
side of you and with these
It's a lot,
attackers?
yeah.
I think those are big changes
Attacker's
too.
objective is to locate a bomb
Now
and defuse
you're taking away that thermite, so you're only left with the Habana. No can openers as well. A
Mm.
fuse, a Yana, and a Capital. I love seeing the fuse and the Capital because
Ooh.
it's those operators that we usually don't see, especially Capital. I cannot remember the last time I have seen Capital getting played, but if you win are trying to go for a very specialized sort of take,
Mm.
attacker repick is here to save the day with that. As
Oh,
oh
yeah.
my, freezing lava bringing the shield as well. This is definitely out of the ordinary, but I mean, they're 2 rounds away from securing the map. They've got some rounds to spare. Even if this doesn't go well, like I said, up 5-1.
Right. Well, I've got to be honest. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a lot of viability. These fuse charges, they come down the floor, they clear the utility, they stop a lot of problems that defenders are trying to create for the attackers. Well, now you also have a shield. If you can get that Maverick to let you inside dirt, because that's what the Maverick was doing, was opening dirt. Capital uses the vertical play, sets these flames, cuts off the lines of sight. The smoke canisters, you could get a drop coming through from the fuse and a plant which the shield will cover. There's a lot of potential coming through. The question is, how are you in esports going to use it? Bucket Hat will be joining in for that dirt tunnel. A lot more information, I feel, than we saw noticeably from Marion before. The question is, though, how useful is it going to be? That's the big thing.
You actually saw a couple of bullets
bomb
going
has
out.
been
Thwapper
located.
Boy going to take some damage. They're going to have to go all the way back, and it's Pains who's going to be able to find the first one as Marion gets that entry frag, and that's going to be very, very important. But with Ewan possibly still having some control, but losing the shield, that could kind of throw their plans into chaos because you mentioned
Mm,
how important that shield could be, especially in the post-plant situation. So they're really only going to have the smoke bolts. They're not going to have Bucket Hat anymore, and Ragnar is not going to be able to find the shots. Even the second one, all the way back near Church, is going to be going down. The bulletproof is still there. And that is something that I don't even think Ewan noticed, is that on the shield, on the side of the wall, it may be slim, but it still makes a difference.
mm.
Because they were able to rotate it now, they could see the stairs clear as day.
Oh, and it was just screaming at them, swing, swing,
Attackers
play,
dropped the
push
diffuser.
for this kill, which is something Latfan's going to be trying to do,
Attackers
but
need to
Payne's
locate
coming
a
around
bomb.
with that SMG. 11's going to be denying that. Ready for a second player, aware that it's going to be coming through. You don't have time to rotate. So the smoke canisters will start to go
15
through.
seconds
Political
to go.
drop down oil pit finds one. Taken down by IC. Ragnar will be coming for the refrag. Doesn't land the shot, and IC down in oil pit will close out this round. Very good use of that 416C, and one that I've decided that you're welcome. I've let them use my operator, and they've done well with it.
Oh, and now, I mean, that's 1 round on Marion's back. It's the first one since round 4, so there's been a little bit of a distance between it.
Mm,
But going over to CCTV, this is definitely the good old site. It was actually the first church site that we had seen, basement church site, that we had seen all game, which is looking at Clubhouse and how usual those gym, church, and CCTV sites are used. That it's a little crazy to say, but Marion is going to be the first victor on that, and they got to keep going as long as they can because they would
mm,
love to avoid overtime, can just completely win it out on a 7-5 victory. These
mm.
attackers, depending on if they want to go for that repick once again, could throw a wrench in that mix.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you're looking at Marion, they're playing at that 2-5 score line, and while it isn't match point, it isn't over yet. You're in a situation of you have to step up. This is where if we're going to see this improvement, it is going to show. Because if you lose this, it's match point. Then you're playing for at best overtime. And that's just not a position you want to be in. This isn't your map, don't get me wrong, but you really cannot afford to be slacking at this point. This is make or break, simply put.
I can't tell if we're still waiting for somebody to kind of load in because we're not having literally nothing is moving on the screen. So it's hard to see whether we're waiting for somebody to load in or whether, the feed is having problems, but I'm surprised if it is, if we are waiting on somebody, that somebody has not put the hashtag or the link to an SSD, amazon.com/SSD. The incredibly comedic joke that is. It makes me laugh every single time I hear it. But yeah, we need the ad read, Greedy.
Fast spinny disc. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's happening right now. CCTV cash room. Very excited by this. I've got to be honest though, I do want to take a look over towards UN Esports. I feel like they aren't an unbeatable team. The way that they've been playing has been the better of the two we've seen so far. They've had a good amount of aggression. They're very aware of what they can do, their levels of skill and such, and they play around it. I mean, we're seeing aggressive play that is backed up by these fast-firing weapons, by this play that is supporting that, by these refrags, these positions to back these teams up. Ultimately, I feel like this is a good game. I mean, we're seeing a team that, oh, right, okay. Seeing all 10 players in the lobby, and none of them are dead, but we are 2 minutes in already. Literose.
Yeah, and before you are witnessing the least buggy Rainbow Six game in existence, and Bucket Hat is gonna find the first kill. That's gonna be up for Ewan, and that is gonna shut down Icy, who's got 7 kills ever since we had that rehost. So great job by them. Is Thwapper Boy is gonna be next to go down. There is gonna be a refrag 2 as well. So we're at a 3v3, but that SMG-11 just isn't able to get the job done in that situation. But there is gonna be Ragnar who's gonna be going on the floor. As Political is gonna try to get that diffuser down. It seems the smoke isn't going to touch them. A 2v2 situation. There's the SMG-11 doing its work as Bucket Hat is outside. They're going to be able to find one. Are they going to have to hop through the Surrey gate? No! The recoil. It's going to help them out wonderfully, and you can see just that ACOG doing its job and just finding those heads even through the Surrey gate.
And if you ever really needed a advertisement for pre-firing, that is it for me. I mean, you're looking at that position, you're hearing these players, you're not even sure where they are because we saw they were just flicking back and forth. But Bucket Hat able to find that first kill onto the smoke, takes away pains, then is able to just pre-fire. You were aware of the time constraint. That the diffuser has to be there. They have to be on that, otherwise they lose the round. The pre-fire comes through, finds the kill, beautifully played. There's not really much we can talk about for the round. Although we did see all the kills, I will give a lot of credit. There was really good refrags in that. I mean, it was back and forth until we saw that final 2v1. But Marion, I'm not really sure about this. They've decided to return to that CCTV site. Well, they can't go back to cash. And they've just lost this site. I mean, I'd like to see a gym bedroom. You can't really afford going back to try and fix mistakes, in my opinion.
Yeah, you really backed yourself into the corner when it comes to rounds. 2-6 is a very definitive. It's a very definitive lead because you're not only going to have to go flawless, you're going to have to go through the entire 3-site rotation and then win one more to go to overtime to possibly have to win 2 more rounds. It's a lot to do. It's a lot on your mind, and you win. They're going a little bit different. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
We saw a different operator being played, but I don't think it's different as the glass. That is.
No, but I'll theorycraft a little bit. I'll back up Marion's point now. One criticism I had of their defensive side was they weren't really focused on that garage side. I feel like this is because they might be looking over towards that gym bedroom. Well, clearly I'm wrong, but with the glass, you can do a lot of line of sight shutting down, especially with these smoke grenades. You can hold that position. You can hear that lion scan coming through. Those smoke canisters go out, the open, long lines of sight. They're setting the glass up for a post plan, and I feel like what we've seen from UI, this might be the play for them.
And that's the thing is, Glass has the opportunity to bring frag grenades as well, which think we usually don't see. But oh, you can see positioned all the way back here. So if somebody is able to get kind of on that table that we might usually see inside of Cash, Laughan is just ready to completely take their head off all the way from back. Right from in I don't actually remember what it's called, that spawning point. All I can think of is ruins, but Payne's not trying to really tempt fate here, as UN is going to be gonna have to be the one to push forward. But lion scan's going to go out once again. It's going to catch somebody, but not much you really can do about that scan there. Not much you can act on.
Yeah, and in terms of Romans, you're not really saying anything that hasn't already been said a million times. You know, the anchors are on site. Like, oh no, what a shock! But the big thing is it has shut down any potential roaming coming out from Klaus. It stopped it for just a little bit longer, allows these attackers to get into position, and when they do go for the execute, it's going to give them a little bit more freedom of movement. Now, the big thing for me, political cannot die. Political has to get right in on that breach, tight right up against that red wall, and you have to do it without dying. Now that scan comes through, the smoke comes through, and this plan is starting to go down. I don't think Claus is aware. All the rest of Marion's side are actually, that's the plan going out for you in esports. Time ticking down. The player down below is going to be taking that gunfight, but Ragnar's going to be the first one to win it out. I see has a refrag. Thwapper Boy being taken away by Ragnar yet again. The run out for Klaus is unable to find anything. Frosty finds one, but suddenly it's all down to Icy, and it is a 1 versus 3. 20 seconds on the clock. You find one kill, but are you really going to be able to find any more? Time ticking down. The glass all the way out in warehouse, and it looks like that's going to be Icy. That's going to be all she wrote. Finding one, but not another, and Laughan closes out this map.
Whew, and that was a little closer. If we saw just a little bit more time, possibly maybe 10 more seconds, we could have seen a very, very tense 1v1. But Laughan just completely has the position. He has possibly the perfect operator for that situation. And there we go. We are going to finally, after all the rehosts, after everything happening, it's going to be 7-2. And we got through it, Muhcreedy. We got through the least buggy game of Rainbow Six Siege ever.
We did. It was a very interesting one, but I want to talk about that glass pick. It was a little preempted. It was almost like they planned it. Like they have that long line of sight. They have the smoke. Well, you never know. You never know. But one thing I do know is that a huge effort came through from IC towards the end there, being able to find not one, but not two, 3 kills. We're trying to come back to sight and trying to bring everything back to life. A huge effort, but unfortunately not one that was really going to have that much impact. A bit too little, a bit too late. And, well, Lyros, as we close down on that 7-2 scoreline, we can only start to look forward to Villa, can't we?
Yeah, that is going to be the second area of control. Marion is going to need to come back a 7-2 scoreline. It is going to be a rough one to come back from, but it is definitely in their ability to come out onto Villa, start storming, and take that map to bring us to the third map. That would be Cafe. But we're going to go to a break. It's not a rehost, I swear. We need to catch up on our voices. We've been talking a bit, and we will see you right after the break on Villa. Well, we are back. We finished with map 1, and after what feels like forever, we are finally at map 2. It is going to be Villa. And it's a little bit different than our previous map. Very, very horizontally oriented. It's a very, very important roam game. And it's also a map that, teams are expected to know because it does kind of come up in that shuffle that we have of Oregon, Cafe, Villa, yada, yada.
You know, production quality you apparently. But yeah, it is one of those maps where you do expect a lot of teams to know what they do, exactly what they're going in with their game plan. How it's going to play out isn't as predictable as a map like Clubhouse or Oregon, but it is a map where you can expect a couple of standard things. For example, most teams will try and take 90 control. A good
Mhm.
attacking team will be able to flip this from more of a defensive sided map to an attacking sided map by taking that 90 control within the first 40 seconds of being in the building. That is the golden rule of thumb that I've seen. If you're likely to win a round, you will have that 90 control very early on. You will have your cutoffs, your flank drones, your refrag potential. A lot of things that we looked at in that first map light.
Yeah, and we talked about flank drones and kind of how Marion didn't seem to really have them when it was most important. A lot of times we
Mm.
did see flanks come through and just completely destroy anything that was set up. But already starting out a little different, Thatcher is going to be off the board. He was completely usable for the entirety of Clubhouse, but Villa. You'd think that Clubhouse would be more important for a Thatcher, as Thatcher is only used in a couple of scenarios, but overall, he is going to be going down. The Thermite is going to be going down. I love seeing Ewan's, how they're just like, this normally played operator on this map.
Mm.
No, no more. Off
Well,
the board.
to be fair to UN, they have been able to back it up very, very well with their setups, with their workarounds. I feel like they have a lot of potential with this. And though am I being taken away? Well, these operators, while they aren't the go-tos normally in terms of Thatcher, of Thermite, sorry, and my on this map, they do make a lot of sense to me. I mean, you take away that Thatcher because obviously the alternative is Maverick if you want to get that wall guaranteed open. You have to get in. You have to step in close. You have to do the same with Thermite, which is where I feel Habana or an Ace band would have come in a lot more powerful. You can get them inside. You can use C4s. You can cause so many problems. But one operator who will not be using C4s is targeting that information game that we talked about last game. And the importance of information, I think, is all encompassing as we come into this final map. That Valkyrie being removed. Pulse and Echo, yeah, they are still on the board and they did have big impacts last round, but Valkyrie has a lot of untapped potential for a lot of teams on this map.
Defenders,
Yeah,
protect your bombs
that
from
is
being defused
definitely
by
true.
attackers.
But going on here, Cali could be possibly, flash pick. We could see a change going on through once they realize the operators that are being played. The
Mm.
denial isn't really as strong. It's only gonna be a mute, which Holly is supposed to
Bomb
be a
located by
Thatcher
attackers.
alternative. She kind of hasn't really worked out that way. Instead, she's mostly kind of used for that one shot
Attackers have located a
kill
bomb.
that it
Mm.
is pretty powerful and has kind of gotten buffed. She recently did get
10
the
seconds
buff where
remaining.
she's moving faster with the sniper rifle. She doesn't get that penalty, but
5 seconds
instead of the Cali, it's going to be the Jackal on the side of Freezing Love, the only change on the side of the
Attackers are heading
attack.
out to
So a
defuse
lot
the
of
bomb.
this is kind of information. We've got two information operators, one hard breach, and overall, UN do have a recipe that if they're able to take out that mute jammer, they really could flush out the rest of
Attackers have
Mm.
dropped a
Marion.
bomb diffuser.
But having two C4s and
Attackers have
three
recovered
smoke
the
canisters
diffuser.
means that you could really, really waste this time if you're Marion, especially if you could just keep them from getting those mute jammers out.
Yeah, and one thing that I do want to pay attention to is the fact that, like I said, a good attacking team could take control in 90. Thwapper Boy is going to be trying to stop that, will not be able to do that though. UN Esports, very fast, very aggressive operators like Yana and Jackal will back this up very, very well. But it's going to be MU Pains landing those first shots of bullets. Claw's able to find Fan as Freezing Lava's able to find the refrag with that Jackal. Suddenly, very fast paced, very aggressive. They're on set for that 40 seconds in the building light. The big thing, honestly, these operators, they suit it very well. Jackal can get a lot of ground covered very, very quickly. You know the areas to focus on, and you can start pinching very quickly. Yana, while dead, Lafan did have a lot of potential with frag grenades. The Geminis. And now you have a very aggressive lineup ready to push forward, which is what they're going to do. Political unable to find that shot, will be droned out instead. We'll back it up a little bit, but Icy is going to be able to even things up light.
Yeah, so now we're at a 3v3, and they're kind of running a little running out of things to throw through surrogates. We're going to see one frag grenade go through. The second one is going to bounce off the door frame. It's not going to be too much, but overall, you're still going to have to try to waste time here. You still have the C4. You still have 3 more smoke canisters. The first one is going on through, so it's not going to find anything. But like I said, you still have these smoke canisters as the first one is deployed. And Marion is still looking pretty up here. They are still looking like they have control, especially with Frosty. They are going to be prone here, and they could really find something crazy because, nobody expects the prone player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to look at this. Well, apparently Bucket Hat will be expecting that player. Frosty really was going to be that linchpin for me because now this plant is starting to go down. The information will go through. And, well, that smoke canister will be deployed, but the swing coming through from Claus is going to down and take out Ragnar, which Icy is able to finish things off. Look for spots to play towards Volt, finds the kill. Beautiful shot coming through the LMG, and now it's all down to Klaus with the MP5K. You have the position, you have the potential, but you do not have the HP. Political going to take out both of those SAS operators and end this round in favor of you win. Actually, I'm a little bit wrong there, aren't I? Like, it's not both of the SAS operators anymore.
Is it not? Wait, wait, explain for a second. Hold on. Wait.
Right. Good.
Broke my brain there for a second.
Smoke is not part of the SAS.
Right. Lore. Yeah. Can't do it. You had me going there, and then you just pulled the rug out from under me. I wasn't expecting that, but yes, you are right. And actually, I found this out earlier. It was pointed out by Captain Fluke that in the Osa cinematic, that the bullet used is also on her shield. So people speculate, or I believe it's confirmed or not, that Nighthaven hired assassins to kill Azami's dad. So we're getting, that's a little exciting for all the fans that like some lore in their games. Which, I mean, Rainbow Six hasn't had much lore in its entirety.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been working a little bit too hard out off my computer to actually pay that much attention. But
I only saw this today, so
now something I'm actually noticing from Marion is something like a return to the norm with these mirror windows. They don't have that setup primarily dominating that study side with the open wall into Aviator. They've just gone for a pretty default reinforcement, which does have its merits for a study push, but when you look towards that master bedroom take, it falls apart pretty quickly in my eyes.
And that's something that Marion, you can fall apart pretty easily, and a lot of that is just not really being important with checking things. I think last round, Thwapper Boy just ran around, and Lafan was already in the building and was essentially able to get that free kill. I think Frosty has been pointed out. We were a little scared there, but that second drone immediately going off, it definitely signified that the indication is there. But you could just see Marion really being forward with this room, having the Kaid, having the Jaeger. A lot more defense behind them and a lot more support, especially when it comes to possibly getting refrags.
Yeah, now you can see they've opened that wall, and you might be questioning, well, why have they used as a fear impact? Well, simply put, it's a lot easier to cut these players off. They're up against that split wall. Well, they're trying to back up, and suddenly Lafan can find that frag. Frosty can't get as aggressive now. Will start to take damage. The pinch is starting to come through. Spots a player on red. Finds Lafan, that Nomad taken off the board. And it looks like Frosty is going to be going down with a fight. Until Freezing Lava just turns up, finding 2 kills and just shutting things down and putting a little bit of an asterisk onto this round at this point. As I see, you have that vault, you have that mirror window, but the shotgun of Jackal can really just start to make Swiss cheese of the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, completely obscured vision there. And they don't have they have one C4 that they can use, and Swapper Boy is down. It's going to be Icy stuck inside this vault. They are going to use the C4. It's going to go right over the vault door, and it is just not going to do anything, as it is a Vault of Doom. And we are going to see UN get their second round here, and I think it might be time to swap off of AG.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I looked at on the last round, and I basically said, well, it was match point, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't somewhere that I really wanted them to be. You don't have the time to really start making those adaptations. The minuscule level isn't, like, the micro level is not what's stripping you guys up, it's the macro level. I mean, unfortunately, for the side of Marion, that was a very good take coming from UN. They got very quick control, very good pinches on these defenders. They managed to isolate them into 1v1s or 2v1s in favor of the attack. It was a very difficult position to be in for the defense, but yeah, they have to go to trophy statue now. There's no other way around it. I mean, I look at that last round and I say, well, there was a myriad of problems. I mean, by the time that you look at the attack of sight for that final execute, well, at that point, Marion had already lost. They had two people trying to cover multiple angles, multiple attackers. It just wasn't going to work. Question is, can they stop it from happening now? It's a very different vibe. Personally, I'd like to see that a Astro wall on reinforcement on the other side, get a mirror window on it, cover both of these sites, but, well, you know, there's a reason I'm casting and not playing on it.
I think you're right when you say it's a very different vibe, because entering Master Bedroom is a little scary, because it's one of those things where you are essentially almost breathing down the neck of the enemy. There's like a hard reinforced wall possibly between you and the enemy, and possibly even less depending on where they're playing. So a lot of teams, they refer to, just go possibly near AVG and then move on forward. Don't try to attack that master bedroom wall right on. And yeah, that seems what UN is going for. They're going to try to go for something that's the alternative, but with political going down, doesn't seem like anyone's there to really finish them up, so they should be able to get resurrected immediately if someone can worm their way on over. So UN, yeah, they can wipe their brow as they're not losing a member just yet. It's only about 80 HP.
Unless
I think
that wasn't what I meant. But what they are going to see is Lifan taking that gunfight will be able to do the damage, and unfortunately, Klaus, well, you're not going to be getting back up, and I see you are not going to be getting the HP back. Thwapper Boy finding that frag. Well, not finding that frag, but Frosty going to be able to find Ragnar. Looks for the seconds, able to find that kill. Pops a Nomad as Bucket goes on the hunt. Finds one. Freezing Lava getting the second. And Icy tagged and low and all the way down below. You have one C4. But do you have the opportunity to make it work? You know these players are. The C4 goes off. The Jackal gets aggressive. Finds the kill. You win esports. Well, they pick up another round.
Yeah, and now that is 3. It's like we were in last time, because now Marion, are they going to go back? They really cannot afford to possibly go back to trophy again and possibly lose again. Yep, you'll see that happen, where you might go to the same site once, you'll lose the next site, you can't afford to go there next, because 4 rounds in a row is rough. So dining room and kitchen is where we're going to go, but there's still a chance that you could get that one as well, which possibly could cement Marion even further down, as the fuse of political being brought in. We've seen fuse a lot more, especially because, he's able to clear a lot of utility if you're on that second floor trying to attack onto the first floor.
And it's one of those where you suddenly don't feel so locked in, and it's what you were talking about in the last one. You don't feel so locked in because it might be that site or it might not. Well, now political can just turn around and say, you know what, I don't fancy playing fuse. It's happened. There we go. The Ash story is going to be brought out in favor of that fuse, and I think it's probably saying let's get a bit of self-destruction on there. And yep, there we go. Lafan also going for that sledge. Tease in between the sledge and the Nomad, but a lot of shuffling going on here, like.
And I think a shuffle is possibly good, because Marion, they haven't been the best at kind of keeping up on their toes. And UN really has been like passing it all around. You play this, no, you play this. Everybody's having a grand old time, dipping their feet into the pool. With Bucket Hat now onto the fuse instead. No shield this time. You are going to have that 100 round LMG that still it's pretty devastating if you're able to, because you're able to slap that
Mm.
Russian ACOG on it, which he doesn't get talked about too much. As Bucket Hat's going to actually be having that 1.5 sight instead, which is still a pretty good one. But they need to be very, very aware of Frosty, and Frosty's not even going to risk that.
Unfortunately, this is one of the positions where you are going to have to hold that upstairs. You can't afford to lose it. We talked about the vertical play. We look at the operators like the Ash and the Buck and the Fuse, and quite simply, it's just not one where you can afford to give up that vertical play. Looking at the attacking lineup, Frosty's going to be doing exactly that, though. That top floor has been given complete control of to the attack. They just have to get inside and seize it. It's theirs for the taking. So do it. And now they can start to put pressure down below. These fuse charges really going to cause these problems. And a couple of well-placed C4s can sort this out. But I don't think, realistically, Marion are going to be able to do that with these fuse charges pinning them and the aggression of the attackers, for one.
Yeah, but Icy is going to take an amount of HP. They've still got that 3 armor status, so they're going to have more HP in general to themselves. So still around 60 HP, but Froste, the site actually almost obscured the drone. So luckily, they're going to be able to spot it, as the first kill is going to be onto Freezing Lava with a pistol onto Icy. So still, things just not looking good for Marion, as they lose in a very integral operator. You lose the Vector, you lose the C4, and if Political finds this kill and barely getting away, Frosty's going to be able to skedaddle and possibly scare an attacker if they're going straight into 90.
Yeah, but a really good usage of these cutoffs. We're looking at Bucket Hat while they do go down. Lafan is in support. Pains will confirm the kill on to Bucket Hat, but a lot of those fuse charges already went down. Political and Freezing have already started making their way down below. And realistically, this air jab going out from that Jaeger is just going to cause a myriad of problems. Political will be taken down, though. Frosty's able to find one kill as Pains finds Political. Suddenly, this actually is just turned around for the side of Marion. They get those kills. They have that vertical control established again. The attackers aren't ready to push forward. With Claws able to find Freezing Lava, it's all down to Ragnar. How are you going to make this work? How are you going to do it? Well, you're going to find one kill. You're going to look for a second one, but you don't have the HP. Marion, they will win their dining and kitchen defensive site. And, well, let's just see a little bit more of that on the others.
And I appreciate that farewell 360 that we saw out of the Desperation. You might have not got the kill, but it did kind of look cool, honestly. Aviator Games going back up there, and so far 0-2. It's not a succeeding record, not a very satisfying one that you want to feel secure as you go back here. But the cap can of ICE could be something crazy. We have seen that the cap can do something in the past, but still, this attacker repick, UN is using it so much, I think, compared to Marion, who are very conservatively using it, as
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused
we
by
almost
attackers.
got through it, Muhcreedy. We're so close. I think we might be able to. We're going to run through this whole charade again. It started. Does this count? I do not envy a flawless game here. I do envy a flawless game, but
Those are a lot of words, like.
I
Not
don't know.
made sense, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm be honest with you.
I'm sorry.
10 seconds to
I think
insertion.
as a friend, a colleague and a friend, I should be the one to tell you.
5 seconds left. before
We are going to be rehearsing. We are going to be trying to get back to our wonderful faces for a little bit as we do try and fix some of the issues that we are seeing and hopefully get a little bit of audio back while we're at it.
Yeah, and so far though, this is kind of exactly how the last map went. We saw 3 rounds of UN. They got 3 back-to-back. Granted, the site strategy was different. The third round was, a post-plant clutch, but still, 3-1 scoreline. Last map, 3-1 scoreline. This map as we go into round 5, so it's kind of in Marion's hands if they want to break the streak. Remember, they ended up 5-1 They ended
Mm,
the half 5-1, which is a very oppressive half. It's not something that you want, and even on Villa as well, the very horizontal play. I do not want to see Marion try to go up against Ewan's roam game on Villa because I'm just expecting that it is going to be something that is very, very strong. And with Mary not going to be able to put those flank drones down, they're going to have to either dedicate actual people, they're going to have to dedicate air jabs, whatever they can, just to try to stop it. And we're going to have to see if that's going to be enough once those sides swap.
mm. Although I will give a lot of credit before we do see that side swap, Icy's been very good on the flank of Frosty as well. These two operators have played very, very well, but I feel like the rest of the team needs to start matching their level and their pace of play. So towards the support operators, I'm really looking at them to start stepping up. I really want to see just constant information coming through. I mean, even if we see a Mozzie catch a few drones and just hot drone these roamers, or Yokai or something like that, I feel like if you can facilitate these two players like Icy and Frosty to start waking up a lot earlier in the round, well, that's when you really start going to start to see a lot of this success. And I feel like the last kind of minute when it's a 2 versus 5, when it's a 2 versus 4, 2 versus 3, isn't the best situation for that.
I mean, we just saw we were at I believe it is a 4v3 situation, and Marion
Mm,
was able to turn it around and win the round. And you and I, we talked about Marion the first week. We talked about
mm,
Marion now. That it definitely feels like they can be a team that can win. We see it in these brief flashes. We just saw it that they were able to win it out, take advantage of their opponent's mistakes, and win the round. But we just see these things happen where rounds they should have won slip away, and they just cannot kind of catch their opponent, which has this large lead. You end up 6-2, and from then point on, the odds are completely against you.
yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think I stand by my statement. I want to see the support players being able to facilitate the play that these two players are capable of. That's where you can really start to see them rally together, start to just string together a few more victories. I mean, just a couple more rounds, and you can get that momentum shift at least. The mental fortitude is going to be on display here for Marion. That's something I would like to see a lot of. I'd like to see a lot of this mental fortitude. Yeah, and unfortunately, in the history of the games that we've seen from them, they have struggled to wake up quickly. So that mental fortitude in the short term is going to be a massive bonus if they can lock that down. Then I think step two in improvement is just getting these supports, getting just that little bit, just doing their best to make sure these roamers can have the maximum impact. Even if they die in that first engagement, that or first engagement or two, waste time, let them take a few couple of kills. Anything is possible here. And I think with Marion, it is within reach.
Yeah, and we saw it briefly kind of before Frosty, unfortunately, left that AVG, Aviator and Games, was the site that we were going to. I mentioned that,
Mm,
they were unsuccessful twice before, and it was kind of not very good for them. They had one round where they had lost, they were only able to kill one member of the enemy team. So you're kind of testing your luck here, basically saying, okay, we've had a couple times before where we've had a break. We try to get this as much as we can because then if you lose that round, at the best you can do is 4-2, which still just isn't the best if you're Marion because you don't want to fall behind because we've kind of seen that they just haven't
mm.
been able to catch up once they have fallen behind.
Yeah, and I feel like being that's where the mental fortitude comes in, like you said. Being able to keep it up, being able to just start to really get something and get that ball rolling. That's where they're starting to struggle. That's where they're starting to slip amongst a few other things. So it's there. It's within taste. The reason we harp on about it, the reason that we're talking so much about Marion at the moment, is because it feels so close. It's so far.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it's one of the most painful things to look at. But you've got to look at UI. Their aggression is really, really good. The way that they're playing this, the thought process, the game plan that they've got, it suits the round, it suits the strategy, the defensive setup. I feel like UI, they're showing a really strong level of skill. And for Marion to be matching it is going to take a lot.
Yeah, with you win. they have gotten the opening frag 4 out of the 4 rounds that we have played. They've opened it up every single time with a kill. Granted, I believe both of the times Laugh got it in those first 2 rounds, it was
Mm,
immediately they were immediately refragged by the enemy team. So, yes, you can say they got the opening frag, but Marion has also been kinda quick on the draw to get that refrag, to really shut down any momentum that this attacking team is getting. And I think that is definitely positive. It supports how aggressive that they are playing, that they have someone on their back to get those refrags. And if they can continue to do that, get the refrag, and then just pad out the round and win these rounds in the, I believe, the last 30 to 20 seconds that we saw back in the first round. It was a 2v1 that
mm.
completely they had the pieces in their hands to win. It was just the fact that unfortunately it wasn't able to come together. The peaks just did not fall their way. And now we're getting back into the game, round 5. And you win up 3-1. Marion needs to find some way to come back on a site that they have not had much luck on.
Yeah, it's one of those where unfortunately they don't have much choice. I mean, you do have that living room, but a lot of teams tend to avoid it. It's one of those where you got to be comfortable with the map, and realistically, you've got to be really, really comfortable with the map and your team to want to take that side, to want to take the flexibility that you need to have to defend it. Ultimately, AVG, while it isn't the site I want to see them on, it's the one that they're heading to. I'd like to go back to Statue Trophy,
Defenders, protect your bombs
and
from being destroyed by
well,
attackers.
yay! That's gonna be Frosty leading again.
Oh. Yeah, okay, there it is. So, after all that time, Muhcreedy, well, hold on, what felt like 7 to 10 minutes, as soon as we loaded in Frosty, has gone.
Attackers have
So
located a bomb.
lovely chats between you and I, but unfortunately Marion is going to play with their hand tied behind their back, losing a very key
10
member,
seconds to go.
and that's
Yeah,
going to
no.
be very hard to come back from.
Yeah, now, being
5 seconds remaining.
Frosty being one of those operators, or one of those players, sorry, that I said I want to see the team facilitating them and enabling them to make these high-level plays. It's very hard to do that from the Windows desktop. Or Mac, I can't judge. It's a very difficult thing to do. And you immediately hit the back foot with the defensive side. I feel like you win. They're just going to start rolling with this. They have that opening pick. It is a decisive round. There is a massive difference between a 3-3 split and a 4-2 split. And while we hear these surrogates burning very, very aggressively, I feel like the positioning, everything is set for a very, very hard push through study. Question is the setup ready for it? What Flapper Boy is. Gets a few shots out and gets quite a few in return and decides to back up. Play it safe. Time to get down, you have to get these roamers back in. You realize it's a full study push. They might try and drop down below, they might try and get a play of red, but as Bucket Hat's able to find that second kill in this round, well, you might as well start pushing into the attacker. Defensive side, they need to be on it, and Icy is exactly that. Mine's freezing lava. Bucket Hat looks to go for this kill. Once it, you can tell his lab fun's going to be taken away by Pains, and now the 3 versus 3 light.
Oh, and a great play by Bucket Hat, using position, not taking any lick of damage, but Marion playing this wonderfully. It doesn't even matter if they had one person down. It is a 2v2 situation. Problem is, you and they're going to have that HP advantage. It's going to allow Political to actually win that engagement against Pains. And now a 1v1. Ragnar is not going to have anything. And somehow being down one member, the great play, especially by Claws in Vault, they are going to win Aviator Games.
Huge coming out, and fair play to Marion. They did go against what I said, and they did it in a beautiful fashion. They lost that first player of Thwapper Boy, but they had the positions that were needed. They had that Aviator, sorry, they had that 90. They were able to pick these players apart, and by the time that it came to Klaus down in Vault, it was that Vault of Death, but for the other side. Klaus able to easily just isolate these gunfights into 1v1 engagements. That was a team effort, to be fair to the all players of Marion. They all played well, they all did their bit. Frosty, though, I'm gonna be honest, probably shouldn't get spawn peeked. Oh, you know, I'll let it slide thanks to claws.
What would you call that if it's not spawn peak? Like, ping peaked?
Attackers have discovered
Internet
the location
peaked?
of a bomb.
Just spawn peek by the server.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. DDoS peak.
10
You
seconds
win.
left.
They're bringing out the Capitao again, having those bolts,
5
having those
seconds to go.
smokes as well. No Glaz, sadly. I'd love to see the Glaz once again. I know Villa definitely doesn't cater itself to these really long sight lines, with 90 really being the only one that's gonna allow itself to that. But Marion on the defensive side, I think they are feeling confident on this round. They are definitely feeling
Yeah.
like they can win this round, go forward, even it up 3-3, and go on their attacking side feeling strong. And a lot of this can come down to Pains, who's going to throw out that goo mine. Air's going to hear that audio cue, so they know that somebody is on their prowl, but they can make a huge difference in this map.
Well, let's be honest, on this side, when you're on Statue Trophy, when you're playing over towards that study side, you can expect somebody to be coming around, especially as he is coming over. Political will be making their entrance known very, very quickly. We'll be able to find that kill. Our player is on the flank, however. I don't think this Nomad has put down any of those air jabs. We're going to hat, though, on the wolf window. We'll find Flapper Boy. We'll find another kill to push forward with. And that's going to be you, you win. Starting to get this momentum. They get the snowball going down the hill. And they don't stop. They just keep getting bigger. Freezing Lava, though, going to be crawling right into a brick wall as left fan's able to find the refrag. 5 versus 2.
Bomb has been located.
These players are down. But Claws still having that Astro position. Like, has the potential to shut everything down.
Claws, once again, just having that Vortex side. It's going to have to be a 1v4. They haven't spotted out, and sadly, UN are back with a vengeance here. 4 alive in that last part, so a 4-2. Could be worse for Marion, but still could be better, as now they are going to go on the attacking side, and you know, this round is going to be very important. If Marion can start off their attack with a bang, then, you know, you can go on forward, go up 3-2, and I don't know if you win are down a person. I don't.
Win are down.
Huh. Seems to be a little. Nope, there it is. Political. Just appearing out of thin air at the last second.
Attackers need to locate
Yeah,
and defuse bombs.
it's better than no play at all. I mean, better luck than Frosty's had at the moment, unfortunately. But I do look at that and I say, well, that was a very crucial round. You know, like I said, a huge difference mentally between 3-3 and
Attackers have
2-4.
discovered the location
Marion,
of a
you're
bomb.
feeling like you're on the back foot rather than even Stevens. You have 2 rounds on your attack that you have to win just to get even. And you have to get another 2 more. And I feel like this is the situation where we do want to see Marion start to step up. I want to see some of this aggression. I want to see some of this confidence we've seen. I mean, I want to look towards Frosty and Icy over towards that defensive side and Claws. These players on this map have been so powerful. I mean, the end of that last round, it's got to be Icy. The round before that, it's got to be Claws. These players, I feel like we're seeing a lot more from Marion. And that's a good thing. Shocker, I know.
Yeah, I mean, when you show up more, whether it's in the kill feed, whether it's the observer just likes viewing you, then the odds are definitely going to be in your favor. As I actually thought I saw that berry break, but no, they're going to be able to slip in, try to be as sneaky as they can. Nobody's going to be in kitchen. The closest member is actually going to be right outside in the hallway.
And
So,
Astro.
yeah, they're not 0 from Splinter Cell, but definitely cosplaying their best.
I don't know what Splinter Cell is. I only know Zero from Siege.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to have a talk after the match, Creedy. Tom Clancy, Sam Fisher, nothing.
Oh, Zero, the operator. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah. Well, Frosty, he doesn't really care for my satire. He's going to be able to find that first kill thanks to Freezing Lava. A really good entry frag to have, actually. The Goyo taken away yet again. But we had a look at that Goyo on Clubhouse, and we did talk about some of the benefits of that operator change that we've seen, that balancing. It's going to make Icy's life a lot harder. Not only can that Goyo shield flame out behind it, I'm pretty sure it can still destroy that shield.
Bucket has had a large impact on a lot of these rounds, especially from the flank. And here's what's going to be extremely important is Marion is what I talked about in that long-winded when you and I were just some talking heads. We talked about how the roam could really, really hurt Marion, and Buckethead could absolutely make that statement ring true. They're gonna find one, and that could be more than enough.
Oh,
Laughman
no.
going up red stairs is gonna be able to stab a member of Marion. So now you're at a 2v3. The Osa shields are just gonna be completely useless at this point, as Claus is gonna try to fire in there. They're not gonna be able to find anything. As now 90 seems to be the place of victory or defeat at this point.
Yeah, and that's why I drew so much attention to it at the start. It's a position that you need to have control of, and with Marion finding that kill, they will be able to do almost exactly that. But they still have Ragnar to worry about. That Vault player, we have seen the power that this Vault position has, and while they will be rotating around, Swapper Boy not looking at the Vault will take that damage. He knows where the player isn't able to land these shots that you need to be able to hit, and suddenly that's going to be Ragnar wanting to go for this C4. He hears the plank going down. Klaus is covering it, but you need to be aware of both of these defenders as well. While that plank will go down, the jump for the Vault, it doesn't succeed. It's all down to Klaus. He has that line of sight. He's not able to find a kill, but he gets the C4. That's the important part. Ragnar has time, gets the shotgun out, doesn't land the shot that you need. As Political goes towards 90, it is make or break the pre-fire, giving away the position. 20 seconds, and Klaus knows. Shield will be popped away, the pre-fire comes through, he finds the kill! Gets that defuse coming down. Once he checks for the claymore.
Attackers need to protect the diffuser.
Oh no.
You've got to be careful, don't you? Finds that diffuser with 7 seconds left and more. We'll be able to win out another round for you with esports.
Okay, that made me a little scared because you mentioned they're looking for claymores, but it actually seemed like they might have been looking for diffuser or something else. But I mean, cut it a little close, possibly too close for comfort. A difference of 3 seconds, but with you in now up 5-2, Political is now gonna say their goodbyes, and we are gonna have a pause. Woo! Once again, Muhcreedy. Never seen enough of this.
Oh my shout out to the best, the MVP of this game.
Who cursed it? Who cursed us? Honestly,
this player has a higher kill count than anyone else in the server. It's the server.
Oh man, these new seasons, they do crazy things.
They will get you. You know that happens to the best of us, but. We can take a look at now. You and esports are 1 round away from securing that match point, and 1 round after that from securing that win completely. Whereas Marion, things looking quite a bit dire. They have to get that, and they have to get another 4 rounds on the board to secure that 6-1 half. They really have to step up. Unfortunately, they don't have any space to mess it up. If they lose this round, they're playing for overtime, and that's just to stay in this thing.
Yeah, this is the second map. So even if Marion is somehow able to come back, they've still got to play another third map, which, given our circumstances, that's another 5 rehosts on the board, probably. So with you in wanting to get these next 2 rounds, wanting to make sure that, we're not here for another 2 hours, wanting to make sure that they're finally free from these shackles, but they've still got to go through Marion. Uline still have to actually win these rounds, and bring the Caveira in this one.
I feel like this is going to be leaning into what we saw in the last round with the flanking on red stairs. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where we talked about these basics for the side of Marion, and they just weren't listened to. We've seen rounds where they did follow those basics, and they have done incredibly well, actually. But when they're neglecting these, which sometimes happens a bit too much, that's when they're starting to give away these rounds. I feel like we need to see an active flank watcher. They don't have a Nomad, they don't have a Zero, they don't have anything of the sort. They are going to need that dedicated player. This Caveira with a shotgun and an impact nade, very deadly, actually. And in the hands of Lafan, well, you really never know what you're going to get.
I mean, I haven't yelled interrogation in forever, it feels like, but who is
Mm,
gonna get that honor? Because seeing these
I'll
track
let you
record,
have it.
seeing kind of how all of this goes, Fan definitely feels like they are on track to get an interrogation. With
Yeah.
Marion's, I mean, Marion, the thing is, they're not even running an anti-roam operator. Like, they're not running a Nomad. They're not running, they have two Claymores. And those are really not what you
Mm.
want to rely on for saying, all right, we've locked this area down. Time to not worry about it in the slightest. And knowing how Laugh-In has, seeing those impacts is definitely something scary as Bucket has, yeah, okay. Just a little bit,
Poop
possibly.
the bed.
Claws.
Nah.
Huh.
Able to find a kill, we'll give them that. But yeah, a huge opportunity. At least that information is going through. You're aware of these players are. You're aware what kind of operators they're bringing out. You've at least tagged up Pains. So I'll give a lot of credit to that player. I'll give a lot of credit to Bucket. As I see, however, has just decided to run it a little bit gung ho. I'm not going to lie. The frag grenade will do a little bit of damage to Ragnar, but not enough to find the kill. So I see backs out. And I mean, Haynes, finding political, will be able to even things out into a 4 versus 4. But the defenders are very much aware of where these attackers are coming from. Bucket's able to find another kill onto Ice. Freezing Lava finding Frosty as well. Goes on the hunt, finds the player of Thwapper Boy. Has one more left to go. Do they get the kill? No, they do not. Pains gets the down, and immediately I'm left thinking like, well, I probably should have seen another push coming through. I should have seen some study presence, some 90 presence, some presence down below even.
Ooh, but it is a 1v2, but the problem is that you're on 1 HP. Bucket, a little scary now, actually, because if Pains is able to somehow find the headshot before Bucket lays a single hand on them, single bullet on them, then, oh, well, speculation completely over. It's actually Bucket who finds the headshot, and very, very close there, actually. It's something super scary, but Ewan, they are going to be on map and match point winning that trophy site.
Yeah, the trophy for the trophy team of the round, dare I say. Well, put onto match and series point, and suddenly Marion, well, this is where we've got to start looking at that round, and I've got to say, well, right, the flank watch wasn't necessarily needed with the type of attack that you guys went for, but I feel like that wasn't the kind of direction to take it regardless. I feel like we should have seen at least some pressure over towards Wolf Window, some pressure towards the Red Stairs. At the
Defenders
very
protect your
least, I
bombs from being
mean,
defused
we
by
saw
attackers.
complete comfort coming out from the defenders. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to worry about any flanks. They knew all 5 operators were in that study, and we're going to see something different. We're going to see this living
Attackers
room
have
dining,
discovered the
and
location of a bomb.
well, it's an interesting sight, and there's a lot of reasons why, isn't there, Light?
Yeah, and another interesting one is the Rook. You saw everybody gathered around at the old Rook gathering place, so they're giving themselves a boost in HP. But the roamers
10 seconds
that
to
are in
insertion.
play, 4 roamers, I guess that you could consider, are in
5
play,
seconds to go.
and they are all they're stationed up in basement. I am
Attackers' objective
afraid
is to defuse a
of
bomb.
what I think is going to happen. That Marion is going to go somewhere, and then we are just going to see you win clown car up those stairs and try to take out Marion. And there's a part of me that says, I think it's going to work.
I believe in the dream. I'm not really sure what more else to say anyway. But playing down here, I feel like the Rome game has a lot of potential. I think this is an explosive retake, looking at this seriously, but I do like the idea of all just kind of chilling down there. A simple little Rome clear coming through, all too elementary for the attackers, and well, one Jackal just walks in. Or an IQ just walks into that room and just sees them all lying there. Well, regardless, we're seeing Marion start to just think about these basics. What can we do properly? Well, We can check out this site. We can start our vertical play. We can find our opening pick. This is very good. We can find a second. On top of that, we're going to find a third even as Frosty will steal the kill from Freezing Lava. Then Politico's nearby as well. Finds one kill. Has to look for another one, but you want to get back onto site first. The vertical play still in position. It's going to be a lot of headaches for these two defenders, but Icy pushing through will take a bit of damage. Isn't going to be landing any shots in return, but that's going to be Ragnar taking it from above. Will be knocked down, taken away. Political. Can you close things down? Well, you're able to find one kill. You find Icy. This is winnable if you can isolate these gunfights, but Miriam, they are looking to play it very, very well. Two of the three remaining defenders of the three remaining attackers are tightly pushed together, and with claws going through, can attack up that Legion even more. It's going to be even harder to stay alive in the current climate. As Political pushes forward, realizes there's a hole, and Pains keeps Marion in it with a nice shot to the head.
And the strategy did not work. My conscience lied to me. So Marion are going to be able to find one, and that's going to make it a 6-3 still on match and map point. But UN could definitely take this one a little bit more seriously. Still bringing the Rook so far. They are going to be going back over onto Aviator Games. That was the first round that they won, which actually came down to that 1v1 that we saw between, I believe it was the Twitch and the Alibi of Political, who was able to win it out. So this isn't a for sure round. Marion had it in their pocket. The Osa coming through in the end, but you know what really hurt them in that round, Muhcreedy? It was the roam game.
Yeah, it really did. They lost those two players very, very quickly, didn't they?
They definitely did. And whether it's the new stab animation, the new melee animation, that instead of a swipe, it's a stab. Whether it's Bucket coming all the way back from bedroom, they're still not bringing any anti-roam operators, and they're just simply relying on their own brain and possibly flank drones that we haven't seen, really do any work.
Yeah, and if you are Marion, I think the big thing to take away from this is practice with these flank drones, work on getting positions for them, work on really getting comfortable with setting these up quickly and keeping them alive. And I feel a little bit of deja vu because I believe this was one of my pieces of feedback for them before the last time that I saw them. So it all comes full circle at the end of the day. Yeah, that's thoughts with Creedy Light.
I mean, it is something that it's like we could see literally the evolution, or not the evolution, the lack of one, perhaps. It's like, say, hey, this is kind of what you need to improve on, and nothing happens. Is Lava being a little dangerous, and they're gonna actually not take any life off the bar. They're just gonna take some HP. It's actually 3 members of UN, 2 of them being hurt by the impact, I believe that happened earlier in the prep phase. So Marion having some sort of advantage when it comes to HP, but not in terms of map control, which I think is the more important out of the 2.
Yeah, I feel like map control here is where we really need to see Marion start to shine. Now they're starting to get pressure down below. They're getting the study wall open. A lot of utility being cleared up very quickly is very, very good for this attacking side. These walls need to start getting opened up. Pains, if you can find a kill through the vertical, that's going to be huge. But unfortunately, that ace summer charge that you see going on that aviator wall, not really going to do anything except lead to the death of Klaus. Ragnar now has head heights onto that attacking side, but it's going to be Frosty on the push. Going to be able to find Ragnar now taking 90 control. Wants to cut off these roamers, and this is a really good position. It's a really good plan, but the flicking is getting a little bit too much as Laffan will find that kill, will push forward and give the rest of the defensive setup time to get back to site. If we taking control of 90, everything almost that Marion have worked for, kept in it by Pains and Icy. There's a minute left on the clock and 2 kills yet to go.
And Bucket is unsure of where to look in a 90. They could find something. It is going to be Pains, but they have to make sure that not around the corner, as it is a 2v2 Lava on the first floor. And Thwapper Boy, you can see with the eyes of the Twitch drone looking straight at default. Where is ICE? Are they going to be there to help Thwapper when it comes to this post-plant situation? Yeah, we do see one in study and one in vault right now as freezing lava could get the opener here, and they are not looking at the stairs. ICE goes down. It is a 2v1, and
Defenders have
all the
located the
Goyos getting
diffuser.
destroyed, and Thwapper Boy crouched in the vault is the only thing between a loss and a victory, and they're not going to be able to get it. And the Twitch drone gets a 4K view of the diffuses. Bucket getting double
Defenders
digits
have disabled
in
the
this
bomb diffuser.
rehost actually as well. You win.
Defender
Gonna
mission
be able to
successful.
take Villa and take the map in the match overall.
Yeah, very well played, but I do want to give a lot of credit to Marion. We saw a lot of positives, a lot of potential with that team. It's just refining it down, building them into something even bigger than themselves so far. I feel like it's a team that's got a lot of legs, but the team that's a little bit taller today is indeed going to be UN Esports. They are going to be taking the victory with a swift 2-0, dare I say, Light, and it would be swift if Siege kind of played ball, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think we're actually going straight up to the 9 o'clock game, and with a
Yeah.
2-0 regardless. So that is kind of funny. You guys at home don't have much time to wait, but you and I can talk about this a little bit. Marion, we saw Marion earlier in the season, or they lost, and unfortunately they lost here again tonight. But
Mm.
a great job by you win. We saw a lot of individual performances. Bucket just able to completely destroy on the roam game on that defensive side when we saw it happen because just the lack of flank, the lack of drones, lack of operators, it really hurt them in the end. And that's why we saw, I think, such a definitive scoreline in the end that once you got rid of these attacks, even on the defensive side, it was just completely still you wins the game.
Yeah, I feel like they played very, very well. Their retakes were very good. Their attacks were very aggressive. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. On the flip side, Marion, there was a lot of potential, but it just wasn't met up to. I'm really looking forward to the next time I see them. I'm hoping I do. I want to see them taking some of these lessons on board. And you win on the same side of the coin. I want to see them moving on from this. I want to see them improving those little things that were giving rounds away. For example, the coordination on the peaking. Think about the vault positions. Think about how they were able to be taken apart into one-on-one engagements by the side of Marion. A lot for both teams to walk away from here, but at the moment, it's just going to be you and Esports walking away with that victory. And well, that'll do it for the 6 o'clock showing. We still have one more best of three to go, don't we?
Yeah, and it is going to be NEC versus CHC Crusaders. And it isn't going to be us, unfortunately, but it's going to be the lovely duo of Infernosis and Fellow. And I think, if we're on time still, it's going to be eight minutes away, Creedy. So
Yeah.
we're not going to have too much downtime.
No, we are not. So we are going to be saying goodnight for this side of the game. Like we said, do not miss the next game. The duo are going to be incredible. The game's going to be even better. And most importantly, the frags, the siege, it's all going to be beautiful. But we will be seeing you guys another week. Have a good night.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC. Sorry for that extendedly long break. Had to make some things and arrangements with the teams, but we're all ready and raring to go. My name's Infernosis, not joined here by my usual co-caster. Instead, I had a man fax me out of nowhere. Don't even know what a fax machine is, but he's here and he's looking good. It's Chief Cass. How you doing tonight?
Well, actually, I had to install a telegraph first. That's actually how I contacted you. It was a long process to install the fax machine, and I'm still figuring out the new age computers. But what I have learned from my computer is it's New England College versus the College of the Holy Cross playing today at NECC week number 6. And you know what, Scott? Let's meet the representatives from our teams tonight.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about them. We'll pull up the NEC first and foremost. And just a reminder for everybody, gently, that it's the Navigators division. So we'll have to see how this level of play comes out for them. For the NECC, it's first Butt, Beam, Hatchet Thumb, Pancake, and Trojan Up. That's first on the board. Some fairly interesting majors to go with, but Pancakes definitely has the best. That's not me being favored whatsoever, because I did that same exact degree in college myself and just recently graduated. It's just the best one there is. And Chief, why don't you go ahead and talk about the Holy Cross Crusaders as well when we pull them up?
Well, it's going to be Moving 3, Nawal, MBTS, OIU, and Spicy C23. And we have the same level of representation, but sadly, a lot of undeclared majors right now.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with undeclared. I was never undeclared, but you know, my sister going into college changed her major 5 times, so it's better to be undeclared. Yes, no joke. It's better to be undeclared, in my opinion, than to switch 5 times. So the average person, I think, changes their major at least once in college, if I remember correctly.
I didn't.
That big the statistic. Really? Neither did I. There are outliers. My sister apparently is one of them.
That's why we're the duo. We don't change our majors. We just came in as like, I'm going to finance, you're going into criminology, and we're just like, now we're just stuck in our fields.
Now we're just casting.
Yeah, now we're just casters.
I'm not even going into my degree. I'm not even touching my major, unfortunately. Maybe I'll go back at some point and go into broadcasting.
Master's degree time. You can join me in the grad
degree in
school.
broadcasting. Yeah, I'll join you. I hated school, though. I'm sorry.
You hated
it's
school?
Fine, though. I was a terrible student. I'll own up to that. Just outright.
That's why you don't have a job, my friend.
Yeah, that's that. Excuse me, this is my job. I didn't have to fax my application in, though. So let me go with that. This is what this cast is going to be like all night, folks, so make sure you're staying tuned for that one. We've got maps coming up next. We'll see where we're heading to first and foremost and see what the band selection was, which may be giving us a clue about how this one's going to go down. We see that the first band of the board coming from the NEC will be Coastline, followed with Holy Cross taking Bank, meaning we're going to Clubhouse and Villa first. Chalet's off the block. I hate that decision. That's just because it's my favorite map. No problem to the teams there. And Cafe finally being banned. Thankfully, I hate that map. And Oregon being our decider map. So a very tried and true T4, T3 special kind of map selection. The only major, I guess, difference we're seeing is the fact that Coastline, a popular choice in the most recent time of collegiate, is not on the board.
And just a quick reminder, if you're scratching your heads, hey, this comp pool looks a little bit different right now here in NECC. We're still going to be holding true to the old 7 competitive maps until the end of the season. So Coastline is still in, and we've yet to add Theme Park Border and Skyscraper, the 9 map pool that'll be taking place next season. Thorin is still under quarantine, as well as the newest operator, Azami. So we're going to keep them on lockdown for now, but I'm eager to see what those operators will be able to do. Thorin will be unlocked at the beginning of postseason, but Azami is still going to hide underneath that 4-month quarantine.
Yeah, I don't think Thorne will get that much playtime here, Chief.
I will say,
I've
been seeing a ton of her.
Strong in
Oh, she's quite strong.
Have you?
Yeah. So think of Thorn not as a explosive device that removes people. Think of it as an early warning device, like a proximity alarm, but you get 3 of them. That's basically what it is. So you have barbed wire plus 3 of these early warning devices. They've been getting a lot of play in NJCAA. Like, again, I don't know in the higher echelons of competitive Rainbow Six Siege, but the small sample size that we have in NJCAA, she's been played a ton.
Well, that's actually very interesting. I'm glad to hear that because I was really worried that she would not get a lot of play and that her implementation in R6 would kind of be lackluster. I was not really wanting another operator to kind of fall down and never get played. Maybe not wanting one that gets played as much as Flores does with how viable he is, but that middle ground is where I was wanting to be and find something. So I'm glad that we're seeing Thor and get some use. But Obviously not here tonight, and we won't see it till the possible playoffs when that does go through, but I think we're about ready for the teams. I don't have any confirmation for that just yet, but with our first map on the block, we're having a couple moss issues. That's what it is. I want to hear your take on what you think we might be seeing here on our first map.
Well, don't want to talk about the map yet. I want to talk about Thorn for one more second.
Okay.
Because what weapon does she have other than the Abomination Uzi 50 cal thing? She's an M870, right? Now it's ACOG-less, but she has a CZ. And hear me out. If the devs give the M87 the ACOG plus a CZ with, you know, a scope of some kind, that would be the play. Just hear me out. Best operator in the game, ACOG and then CZ with an optic. Cheers. That's all you need to hear. All right.
You want an ACOG on everyone.
I just wanted on
and
shotguns.
Begging, like, every time I've ever played with you, you're like, give the SMG-11 an ACOG.
Okay, but
give the SMG-11
Scott,
an
here's the
ACOG.
irony. I hate zoomed optics. I only run the OG red dot, and like that's the only scope. That's the only scope I use. But on the shotguns, I want the ACOG because I want to pretend like I'm playing Battlefield. Do you remember playing Battlefield 4 with like a uber zoomed in shotgun? You're just holding like a pixel angle like that, and you just smoke packs. Like that's what I want in Rainbow, bro. Like straight up, it's gonna be fire.
When in a game that a headshot is an instant kill, you want it to be even worse now by having shotguns be an instant kill at the most micro
It should
of
be an
angles.
instant kill, bro.
I get it. Shotguns are in real life are quite devastating. I think the only game that has some semblance of realism for that is Arma, where you can take a shotgun.
Tarkov, you can snipe
Tarkov
people
has
with those
okay
shotguns.
shotguns. I have 1,000+ hours in Tarkov. They're okay. They're not the best in the world. Arma though has the most accurate shotguns there is. You shoot it and you can wipe entire buildings off the map from hillsides a mile away almost. It's insanity. That does not need to happen to an esport. There is no reason for that to happen to an esport. That would make shotguns so broken, it wouldn't even be fair.
Life isn't fair, Scott. But I have good
you're
news.
right.
We're in a game. It's map number 1, and I will actually address your question. What I expect and what I want to see is Thatcher left unbanned, and you ban Maverick. Boy, is Maverick terrifying on Clubhouse. He can slice and dice his way through the plat wall and just not a care in the world. You can't impact trick. You can't Kate trick. You can't even bandit trick with a Maverick. There he is. He's banned. So I'm actually loving this operator ban because we tend to see Jackal favored here in, you know, the lower side of NECC, but there we go, Maverick. So I'm uber excited to see what's going to pan out here. I'm okay with the Cade ban. I prefer not to see it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, taking Kite off the board's not the worst thing in the world and makes it harder to Electroclaw out that hatch. And it basically makes it so Kitchen Hatch, one of the more important places here on Clubhouse, is a bit easier on the attack to clear, especially with the fact that Maverick's off the board. Now you're going to have to rely on the Hibana, who obviously has had those changes to those X-Kairos pellets, as well as the fact that when you're removing out your first ban of Thatcher, you have to have a way to get through it, and you have to deny the Kite Electroclaw. Typically, this is one of my favorite ban selections also on the map of Oregon. If you ban out Maverick, you must ban out Kaid. It's a must on that map, especially talking about Addict Controller dropping through E-Box. So I like this ban selection quite a lot. But for the first round, we'll see the NEC start off on the attack, and it looks like they're going with a fairly standardized pick here. The only one being really different, in my opinion, might be the Ying. That could just be a comfort pick for their entry. We'll have to see what Beam can do with that operator and how the Candelas will affect the competition, or whether or not they'll lose their life early if we see a nice extended roam from the CHC side.
Lots of catcher operators in play, 2 of the 3 being run out by the Holy Cross. We're going to see Jaeger, we're going to see Wamai, and Aruni is the only operator currently not being brought out. And this is going to add a lot of flexibility to the College of the Holy Cross because they're going to be able to set up multiple fighting positions. You can defend Rafters, and you can defend Red. This is going to allow them to have so much control, and it's going to force New England College to prioritize what is going to be their objective. As soon as you open up that wall, Scott, where do you go? Do you put your resources, your flashbangs, your grenades into Rafters, or do you try to deal with the barbed wire, the deployable shield that's going to be over from Red, or do you go with the option that I like the best and do the con overtake? So you open up the plat wall, you leverage a rappel to set up a crossfire, cut the bomb site in half, and then you replicate that through your hard breaching to remove the solo wall, and all of a sudden, you have a lot of flexibility. However, little flexibility on the side of New England College when you shoot your bait in the back of the head. The flank watch, the Nomad, no longer on the face of this earth as they drop here in round number 1 to team damage.
This could be because of the fact that they had a skin. That's the only reason I could necessarily think that they would go for a team kill at the very beginning. They just noticed that there was a skin. Maybe our observer can find the corpse and show us, oh wait, that doesn't do that anymore. They changed it. So there's no way to know, I guess, so to say. But with a 4-on-5, obviously the NEC has a much tougher time to try to overcome all the obstacles that CHC are putting on the board. And talk about obstacles, there is bandit batteries placed along that plat hard wall, makes things difficult to enter through CCTV, making one of the only possible routes to go from will be that window control to maybe try to clear out those batteries first, or I guess try to push in through the rafter side, which they are obviously applying pressure towards, not just from that garage side, which is kind of making a difficult process for, but also through door to clear out Raptors player of moving 3.
This feels like a very lethargic attack right now from New England College. I think we're starting to see the pain of that opening death, and with now bot falling, well, they've already expended their nade, so it's not going to be the biggest pill to swallow, but with New England College making a full rotation over to the west side of the map, realizing that plat wall with the utility that they have available won't be enough to rip that wall down, this is a slow execute once again. They're going to have to start to expedite, and the way they're going to do that is by opening up the Logi hatch, but from there they're going to find themselves with a very similar problem. You're still going to find bandit batteries on the solo con wall, and potentially with all the gun barrels of the College of the Holy Cross looking towards the west.
Construction's an easier approach if you've lost a couple players, because you can funnel in towards the side of cash room door, and you can also take advantage of that hard wall itself. But like you said, there's going to be a lot of complications. It's electrified, making it quite difficult for the side of NEC to push through, considering they have no way to deny that, bar a couple of Rotero drones, which are still in the pocket here for Hatchet Thumb. But they need to start making their move swiftly. 40 seconds on the clock. Time is running out for the NEC to act, and they're still facing off against a full frontal fire for the CHC side. Pancake with shots over towards red stairs, looking from construction. Control is gained for them, but no safety just yet, and they're having to dump all of that flash utility towards the red stair side just to get a cross on over. Beam using the Candelas to success, managing to find Spy. Moving 3 gets the frag back, though, and OIU will find one of their own. It is a double kill for Moving 3. Hatchet Thumb's trying to step in. It's not actually. I don't know why it says that. And then Hatchet Thumb is able to cut down one more. 1 on 3 made 3 on nil as OIU finds the last kill, and it will be a successful defensive round.
Certainly a valiant effort from New England College to try to dig themselves out of the grave that they had with the initial team damage and the follow-up death of bot. I love the use of the Ying Candelas, but unfortunately, the lack of smoke grenades that being brought in the Ying, it wasn't quite enough to break down the crossfires. You know, Scott, we were talking about all the gun barrels of the College of the Holy Cross looking towards the west. Well, that's exactly what took place there. They were calm, cool, and collected. They were very focused on denying the door because they knew that that was the only place where the offense could have come from. And moving forward for New England Community College, what they need to do is just focus on their objective play. If they want to start to go for hard breach, well, how do you do that? What are the success factors to doing so? How are you going to remove the bandits? How are you going to remove the mute jammers? And right now, they're going to be doing that through the use of a Cali, even though it's 6 picked away from.
The basement's a difficult site to attack from, especially if you're not able to stay alive while clearing out that kitchen hatch, and we've talked about the damages, so to say, that were done in the band phase. Removing Maverick makes it harder to clear out all of the hatches on this floor, and you have to kind of make a swifter execute in regards to how you want to play it. Attack or repick going through. You can see everyone reselecting. It makes it hard to talk about the operators and the attacking team that get picked in that pick phase, knowing they can switch away, doesn't it, Chief? But we'll have to go on the fly. Habana has been switched over by Pancake. We're also seeing the Doki and the Finka regained, and it'll be quite interesting to see how Pancake plays this one, needing to save those X-Kairos pellets to clear out Kitchen Hatch. No real sort of denial available for CHC, as they're not using impacts to remove those. They only have 2 nitro cells to play from below, and if they don't execute those perfectly, it could create some complications where they're forced to instead use it laterally on that basement floor and have to get it through some of these cheekier corners and doorways.
One of the ways to remove complications is by good droning. New England College right now, you can see their drones starting to fan out, spread out across the map, and they're just trying to make sure that if there's any members of the College of the Holy Cross lurking in an awkward corner, they're going to be removed. Just a friendly reminder that you can change the configurations for your X-Cairo pellets to a 2x2 configuration, but that's not going to matter when you start to go for a rush. And I don't think the Holy Cross has any idea that their bomb site is completely compromised. Yin Candelas go off, but it's a double-edged sword as members of the offense offense are also going to be flashed. Now, Holy Cross understands that their bomb site has been, well, taken. And now they're going to have to go into the danger zone, where they're going to have to use utility to break down that plan. Or you can start to flank in through blue, but the pre-made rotation is a little bit too predictable. And now you have one player coming down the central stairs. It is a great gun to have, the MK DMR, but it's not going to be good enough to break down the offense, who finds themselves a brand new home in the bomb site.
Talk about a swift and hasty execution there, Chief, as what started to look like the NEC maybe getting a little bit too close for comfort, so to say, in church, as they managed to only find one trade off and then lose one after. I mean, Holy Cross, they found some semblance of success, but everything afterwards was just cut down as the NEC positioned themselves correctly in the post plan. That's something a lot of collegiate teams struggle to do. Once you start to put that diffuser down, you put the lunchbox on the floor, and now it's up to the defense to now play the attack and go to eat their dinner or lunch, so to say. It creates a lot of problems for a lot of attacking teams as they fail to switch that mindset to the defense. They fail to switch to cover and instead still go for the aggression, where the defense is typically favored because they set up their defensive site. They know what they can do, and they tend to play off of it just a little bit better in a lot of ways. But the Holy Cross, they failed to retake that objective. They even had a couple roamers, like we saw towards the end with the Mark 14 EBR, failing to make it back to the site and causing a lot of problems in the later stages of that post-plant situation. Solid round for NEC. They could choose to replicate that. To keep in mind now, placed on top of that memo drop could create a couple problems if they choose to drop down Moto, but from the looks of things right now, we are going to see not the same style of rush, because Pancake has switched off the Hibana and now is on Thermite.
I also think we're going to see a change for the Holy Cross. They're probably going to have more foot soldiers on that middle floor just to make sure if New England decides to get cute again and go for a rush, they should be able to stop that. But, Scott, I think there's some shenanigans once again. It looks like it's going to be emphasis over to Garage, and then through Garage, you're going to have access through Oil Pit, and then directly into Blue, and then the bomb site. Now, Spy C23 is in that sector of the map, but there are so many players, the offense, in this portion, I'm expecting to see a full rush. No drones yet through Oil, but you will have the Dokkaebi phone calls to facilitate that fast push, and the default camera now just shot with 40 seconds into the round. That means the Holy Cross has full idea that there are some weird things going on in Garage, but my friend, moving through, you have to be ADS pre-firing that before you take that engagement.
First frag picked up for the NEC, a solid position to go off of, and they'll make it two, as Pancake also manages to fell moving three quickly afterwards. With only 3 players remaining, the Holy Cross now need to recover in quite a desperate fashion. Play safe, watch these corners, and try to play around your utility, not theirs. That's more of the important aspect. Still an ADS to remove out a couple of the throwable utility on the NEC side, but that ADS gets burnt, then OIU could be in a very precarious position, but MBTS, managing to find a kill on the butt will make things a little bit easier, closing that gap just a little bit further. Not only a 1-player differential, but still favoring the NEC attack. CHC are playing this one smart, playing calm collected, behind their own pieces of utility, and not overextending for a single kill, and even when they do extend for that kill, they don't get evenly traded back, they stay positive.
And now, NEC has decided they're going to leverage every single possible hatch that they can open up. They're going to be trying to push in from multiple vectors at the same time, and this is going to keep CHC on their toes. Sure, you have plenty of utility. Sure, you still have a nitro cell in play, 2 of them in fact, as well as 3 smoke toxic gas grenades, and that's going to be good for at least 30 seconds of time denial. So NEC, they're going to have to start to expedite, especially once you start to incorporate the bulletproof cameras in play. There's one of the 2 nitro cells finding a casualty, but Beam's pretty quick for the trade, and OIU is also good for another trade. So both these rosters kind of in lockstep right now, Scott, but there is one slight problem. Once again, New England College, they find themselves a brand new abode in the bomb site, and Ying Beam is about to go nuclear. MBTS, the only last for their roster, but they're stuck in that crossfire, 90-degree crossfire, and it's going to be back-to-back victories for New England College downstairs in the basement.
I love the communication there for NEC. They gave the call out. Teammate inside kitchen drops hatch through the Surya gate, realizing they had the position to dive, and they did just that. That's a great sign of proper team communication and coordination. A lot of teams fail to properly give the call out. They fail to give a good position. Maybe the call out's not as precise as it should be. Maybe they're giving the wrong name for the call out. Maybe you're saying he's there, he's there. I do that when I played. That's because I'm a terrible player, though. That's a great sign.
You use call outs?
No. I was actually playing casual yesterday for one of the first times in a very long time, and the MMR is terrible. I was just whooping people, and I have no idea why they were kept putting me with people
Pardon?
like
Did
that.
you say that you won a game of Rainbow? Well,
I
that's-
won quite a lot. You can check my stats. It was ridiculous. I ended up leaving Devour where I knew I would lose just because I was tired of winning so much. But I was seeing teams droning and having a player following like you would do in competitive. I was like, wow. They have this knowledge, but they just can't shoot. And I was just shocked at what I was seeing. And I'm seeing the same thing from NEC right now. Not that they can't shoot, but I'm seeing the knowledge of working with your drones, working in tandem with that utility. One of my favorite lines that Parker's talked about before, if you don't know who that is, it's, of course, Taro, says that one of the most important pieces of utility anyone has, everyone on the attack has. 2 of them. It's drones. They're the single best piece of utility in the game, and you can utilize them throughout the entirety of the round to gather information. You can bait, follow with a teammate, lead your actual main attacker entry forward. It's so important to utilize those correctly, and we're seeing NEC do a really good job of that. I just feel like a lot of that is helped and supported by the fact they're communicating so cleanly.
I hate to be nitpicky, but Twitch actually only has 1 regular drone and 2 of her
Oh, I'm
jumpy
sorry.
Daisy drones.
I'm so sorry. 3 drones. If you're Twitch. If you're
What the-
Mossy, then you have an unlimited amount as long as you have the pests. You know?
Well, no, you only got 3 there, bud. If you only capture 3.
What about their Terror drones? Are we counting those too? We're gonna nitpick on that as well.
Well,
Like,
those are technically 4. But more of the point I was making with Twitch is she has 1 default drone, right? The circular roly-poly ones that don't go tasy.
mhm.
She got 1 of those, and
Yeah.
she spawns in with it. So we're gonna have to put some asterisks there, Mr. Scott. Anyways,
I'm
asterisks
sorry,
are all
I was just
spankable.
quoting in Terror. You here to correct?
Ah,
me, Terror,
yes.
Chief? Is-
Well, the legend themselves is once again wrong, and Spicy might find themselves wrong, as they weren't quite ready for New England College to have this very swift execute. They have full control of the west side of the map, that's towards Master, and with the kill underneath their belt, they're knocking on the threshold of the bomb site right now, Scott. Premature Nitrocell will not find its target. Precious utility being wasted by the Holy Cross, and now what are they going to do? With their wall just about to be opened up by the nade breaking down, the bandit battery, and the mute jammer, oh boy, it's starting to look bad, and the fast style play of New England College, they're back at it again.
Notice the tempo and the drastic differences we've seen in a lot of these rounds. They played slow in round 1, really fast in round 2, slow in round 3, and now really fast once again in round 4. They're very back and forth. The NECC is a team that has a plethora of approaches, a multifaceted, stylized approach, and I love to see that. A lot of collegiate teams fail to have more than just one tempo, and that leads me to believe that the NEC is very equipped to take on this map. Unfortunately, despite them having a 2-player lead, they're not able to gain much more beyond that just yet, as OIU from back of red stairs is able to find 1 more. That's a very strong position to hold on to, forces the attack to have to siege through that door, and it creates a lot of complications, but unfortunately for them, Trojan Op will be able to find a nice shot to your Rafters player, only being able to trade 1 in the process. You find opening pick, and you stay alive, Brian. It sets you up really nicely as long as you're evening out those trades, but unfortunately, they haven't managed to get the second one back. Finally, there it is. Nalwall finds 1, fracked back by Pancake, leaving OIU alone, and Trojan Op finds the kill.
You know, I think this is an important learning lesson. Now, I know that New England College just won that round, but you're talking about their communication. They actually have a lapse in that communication during the execute. Did you see that Thermite checked Rafters when his teammate was up there? Again,
Yes.
this is one of the lower divisions, and I think this is an excellent opportunity to kind of just talk about how IGLs work, and or at least the intercommunication between players in a 1v2 right that. Because you should be saying, hey, I'm holding this angle. I'm over in this position. So let's say you're Nomad in top Rafters. You're going to have 2 potential angles that you can be looking. It's going to be the punch holes already established by the defenders and our window. And from there, that's going to kind of eliminate the positions that Pancake can look. So that means that they will hot swing and look towards the left side of the server rack, or they could look towards red. But we never really saw the communication in that final kill cam. Instead, they were double checking angles. And what that could do, Scott, is it could put you in a bad position, because if you're checking 2 angles, well, you might not be looking at the right angle where the defender could be lurking.
Yeah, I think that's one of the problems that a lot of teams will have here in the NECC. We've seen it quite a bit, and just being able to make that small adjustment, it pays off in an extreme manner, more than a lot of teams would expect, just being able to trust and feel out what your teammates are doing, so to say. But we're going back to what I believe should be the main go-to objective on this map now, above CCTV and Cash, considering just how strong that objective has been for the attacking side in recent memory, and it's that master bedroom and gym site. The extension over towards Cash allows for defenders to stay stay steady, at least further away from the objective, and gain more control over the map. And that's really what this game comes down to, is map control. If you're talking about the stylized FPS, the tactical style FPS of maybe CSGO or Valorant, map control is important for a defending team to take control of space that the attacking team allows to be given up. And it's the same thing here. The attack needs to clear the spaces with their roam game and their roam clear, and then act on that space by utilizing it effectively in their siege to take control over these separated rooms, such as cash room or even construction or even Logi, another great avenue to push from on the attack.
Scott, my friend, do you mind if I spice things up like a ghost pepper quickly?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, actually, we're gonna let this rush take place because. Oh, sorry. I thought Peak was in sight
was
for a second. I was
too,
like,
actually.
what? Hold on.
He is
No.
in construction.
I would say CCTV is by far the worst of the bomb sites on this map.
Yes.
Excluding when there's a Thatcher and a Maverick band. So right now it's a very viable bomb site, but when there is Maverick in play, CCTV is undefendable because you can just get Maverick tricked away. And that's why I want to see more teams start to go towards Bar, because I actually think it's quite defendable once you start to figure things out. Unfortunately, though, the Holy Cross has not quite figured out this tertiary bomb site gym bedroom, starting to turn into a smidge of a burial ground for them as they lost 2 of the opening kills. Nawal's forced to rotate from cash CCTV, but he gets a free kill in that process. But with his mates actually dead on site, he's going to have to pull a miracle. He still got that utility, the Nitro Cell, but now MBTS, who's off-site lurking towards the central stairs, the Nitro Cell pre-prepped, and the bullet or the default camera already calling information. But they need to actually go on that middle floor, dispatch the Nitro Cell on the soft floor, but they're a little bit too tunnel vision with the yellow pings, and I think they're going to miss this window of opportunity. Good for 1 kill, but there's still 1 more player on the other side. They'll hear that audio cue, gripped and ripped as a Nitro Cell. It misses its target, though, dishing out a bit of HP, but they need to be a little bit faster. Check your corners, bud, and they won't be able to do so. Pancake the planter will also find that final kill.
I want to talk a little bit and maybe harp on what we were seeing for the attack, as there was obviously, you mentioned quite a few towards the end about the struggles there in the defense for the Holy Cross side. Let's talk about what seemed like a shortcoming there for NEC once again. The communication, the trust in your teammate that they've cleared an area. Dropping down Logi is not a bad decision. Hatchet Thumb got a little bit aggressive with it as a Finka, but that's because they had a player watching through construction window, aka Beam, that had the crossfire. However, Hatchet Thumb was not actually trusting in Beam's crossfire in that position to hold the angle. Hatchet Thumb only needs to look towards door of master bedroom and then look towards door connecting to cash room. Those are the 2 areas that are uncoverable by the player Beam from window, and it was just not trusted enough. And so the defensive player there for Holy Cross gets the kill instead. Refract quickly there by Beam, but Hatchet Thumb's death was not a necessary fault, and it could have been, I guess, recovered a little bit safer. However, there is no faulting how the NEC took that beyond that, truly. There was a couple shortcomings in regard to them not getting into a safer post plant. The covering fire player was not necessarily holding an angle to cover and was just kind of standing next to it, but their attack was near flawless in execution beyond that, and they did a great job of maintaining control once they took advantage of the few shortcomings that the Holy Cross side were giving them. And now that we're at the last round before the half, Brian, it's 4-1 for NEC, and we're heading back to the CCTV cash room side that NEC has been so strong about taking.
You know, Scott, we haven't talked about one operator that was left unbanned and has been played by the College of the Holy Cross pretty much exclusively past the 6 rounds. That's going to be Valkyrie. And I feel like the cameras have not been really an asset. You can place these black eye cameras practically anywhere. I mean, there's a plethora of places they can go. High, low, eye level, foot level. I mean, you can literally place it on any surface. You can also throw them outside. Now, they will be destroyed after 10 seconds, but they could still facilitate a run out. But the thing that's nice about those cameras, let's say you place one over in garage rafters, downstairs in the lobby, and then also over in Bicon, well, that will allow you to keep tabs of the offense practically in perpetuity for the duration of the round. Whatever offensive strategy that they're going for, you should be able to keep tabs on that. Now, maybe that's how we found that first trade, but what about the Valkyrie themselves now? Flashed away into Gold Vault, and sure, it's not a Yin Candela, but they're in a worse position if they Nitro Cell themselves. Oh, a catastrophe and an impeccable roam clear.
I mean, that was perfection by NEC to flash out MBTS, and MBTS feeling desperate, forced to pull out the Nitro, and unfortunately, with their retinas removed quite swiftly thereafter, does not go as anticipated, and they manage to, unfortunately, DBNO themselves and get finished off. Now it's a player advantage for NEC, and they don't even need to worry about a safe trade afterwards, as they have given themselves the man advantage and just need to utilize that to go forward. And unfortunately, Hatchet Thumb gets greedy, and Spy is able to find the kill instead. Now they have to worry about the drone. Spy being a little bit one-dimensional in their defense, only worrying about that information. He takes a little bit of damage from the crossfire, connecting over towards master bedroom door. Pancake finds the kill there. Beam finds Narwhal back of red stairs. And now you're going to see the last defending player, Moving 3, also transition to back of red stairs to create and utilize that space before stepping back to CCTV and trying to find a bit more. Manages one onto bot, throws an impact, and unfortunately tags themselves in the process. It looks like Pancake's going to plant in close corner of Cash Room, but Beam has covering fire and will send us out of this half with a very dominant NEC performance.
Just a reminder, when the offense elects to plant in that corner, you can actually see the foot through the drone hole, and actually, on our player perspective, the foot was there, so that would have been a free kill into the plant, or even you could have whipped one of the Pokeballs and caught them all, but it didn't quite go the direction of the College of the Holy Cross, but it certainly went the direction of New England College. What a strong half, Scott. A 5-1 in the offense of Clubhouse. I mean, we don't see that every day, but I mean, it was the attacking strategy. It was the bravado of New England College that helped them be successful. It was the communication that you talked about too, but we also need to mention the trade, something that's been a little bit absent in our conversation. Every single time one of the teammates of New England College drops, it's almost instantaneous the trades taking place. And if you look in the kill feed, there's a few kills that happen as soon as one of the members of New England falls. And that is the hallmark of an incredible team with a strong IGL who's not only focused on the actual objective of planting the diffuser, but also on maintaining their man advantage.
I touched on it slightly, talking about you pick up that first frag and you don't get traded back. You can now set yourself up with even trades throughout the rest of the round, as well as working in tandem with your teammates to guarantee it. And I think NECC have done that to a very, very strong suit, and it's made their attack really difficult to try and counteract, especially with their versatility and speed for how they want to attack each and every one of these objectives, as we saw them differ almost every other round in stylized play. But one thing that we necessarily didn't talk about, maybe we should as we're stepping into the second half, is actually the records for these two teams. The NEC is 2-3. And unfortunately, their week 1 loss was a forfeit, so I won't count that against them. We'll say they're 2-2 at this point. And the Holy Cross Crusaders are 1-2, having not necessarily been reported of their last week against the MCU Mariners, so we don't know how that one went. But one thing we do know is that these two teams actually faced the UNK Lopers already. In week 1 for the Holy Cross Crusaders, they lost 7-8 and 4-7. A somewhat close game, but an 0-2 loss nonetheless. And we saw NEC face the UNK Lopers, who went 7-1 and 7-2. What some would consider a very, very strong game win, taking it in such a dominant fashion. That leads us to believe the NEC may counteract CHC quite a lot, and we're seeing that pretty heavily right now.
Something we have to address is the new attacker 6-pick, or repick as it's called. We saw that it was a Gridlot being shown, and that was moving 3 in favor of an IQ. And, well, Scott, we don't see IQ all that often. I mean, she just doesn't have a lot of utility, and it's particularly the secondary utility, where she doesn't have anything throwable, and it's just a Claymore and flat place breaching charge. And sometimes that can make an attacker feel a little bit claustrophobic, because you don't have the ability to deal with the Wamai Pancakes and Jaeger ADS. Is now viable if Valkyrie's on the board, but she is, but not being brought out by the defense of New England College. Instead, I think moving 3 is using it to try to remove utility from underneath. A little bit atypical, but it can work.
It's a definite possibility. In fact, if I remember correctly here, Brian, IQ's rework was actually teased and shown on this map of the maps that it was shown. We're talking about its newest changes to that scanner. So it just kind of brings me reminiscent. Not that it necessarily fits on this map all that well, but you know, if the shoe fits, then you might as well wear it, and we're seeing that right now. MBTS cut down by Trojan up, and now you're evening the odds once again. NEC's defense, which was starting to look a little bit in trouble, considering they lost that first frag, are starting to play a little bit better until, unfortunately, moving 3 can get their hands on one more, finding Hatchet Thumb, who is kind of prowling around on this first floor. The extension by them is interesting to see, but as soon as they find one, they'll lose 2 in the process. Trojan Op and Beam each find one. Spy gets a refrag only to Trojan Op, and it evens us out at 2-2. And that's a lot of deaths, considering there's still 50 seconds on the clock here in this round.
I spy with my little eye an M870 brought out, and of course no ranged optics on that, but Bandit Beam has elected to bring that out, and two of the German operators are left, usually an MP7 in the pocket of Bandit, but they decided to get things a bit spicy, and with their positioning over by the server rack, it's very possible that they might be able to make this work, and there it is, the M870 will find the final kill. Heck yeah, my friend. I mean, always nice to see this, but unfortunate. It was kind of the spread out play of the two German operators that forced Ace in kind of an awkward predicament. Where do you prioritize the threat to come from, top red or server racks? Well, the correct answer is technically both, and unfortunately Ace didn't pre-fire either one of those corners and found themselves 6 feet under, and even worse news, if you're a fan of the College of the Holy Cross, it's match point here on map number 1.
Now, I don't know if you saw what I saw there, Brian. Maybe your cataracts are acting up or something, but there was a drone watching Pancake with the M870 around that corner of CCTV inside of the server racks. They had the information that the first swung was peaked, and yet the second swung come out, and they're still not turned to face the damage, to face the Reaper, so to say. That is the difference between NEC and CHC right now. NEC, when they were giving information, they were quick to act off of it. We did see some miscommunications. I would feel that it's more of maybe a mistrust or misguidance between teammates as they were peeking angles their teammates have already cleared. We're not seeing that from CHC. It feels like a lack of communication, or maybe just a bit too slow in the communication for their teammates to react to. Nonetheless, CHC failed to close out their first attacking round, and you'll see, like you mentioned, NEC here at match point. And with the way that they played that last round, there was a lot of shortcomings. Their roam game got cut down quite quickly, but yet, like we mentioned at halftime, the trades were there. And that's such a miracle for NEC to be able to spread their stationary anchoring players to still get the refrag back from their roamers. It's impressive, to say the least.
Ace was selected by moving 3, but they seem to be the operator that is playing the flex role and have moved away from the Ace in favor of Nyada. They are also playing the IQ in the previous round. Now, to be fair, Scott, you don't necessarily need 2 hard breachers. It's just a nice luxury to have, because 2 hard breachers are going to allow you to open up Dirt Tunnel as well as the 3 main hatches, and then have the flexibility to deal with maybe the triple wall of Church or another fixed position the defenders might be hiding behind. Furthermore, if we see, an impact grenade in play, an impact tricking taking place, well, all of a sudden, you might find yourself removing precious X-Cairo utility because of those impact grenades. Now, I don't think that New England College is bringing out the impacts, because Pancake has already used 2 of them to create rotations on site with no primary Mossberg shotgun to be seen by the defense, and Bot is roaming right now with members of the other team on the other side of the wall. There we go. It was looking dicey there, my friend, but they're able to find that kill. It's the opening death against the Holy Cross, and again, they have the burden of match point, and it's not the start of the round that they want.
Yeah, it is a hefty burden as well. You're kind of backpacking that grief, so to say, throughout the rest of this one, and at some point you'll need to offload it onto the competition, and they're kind of falling short for that as of the current moment. Losing that Iana spells disaster, no Gemini Replicator, and when you talk about how important the drones are in this game, having a very mobile drone that's also a bait and switch utility, losing that is a thorn that you're going to unfortunately have to prick yourself upon. 6-1, match point NEC, and in a 5-on-4, they're obviously the favorite going further into this one as we near down to 75 seconds remaining. The kitchen hatch is open, only a Surya gate blocking out the sight lines, and a single throw of utility will remove it quite quickly. No IU has those 3 flashes they can't expend, but it's MBTS who's the next one to pounce, finally removing Bot from this first or second floor and giving them a semblance of a tie, but Hatchet Thumb with the Roni able to frag right back to Spy and creates even further complications for the side of CHC. They can't catch a break, so to say, against the NEC defense.
Well, hard-pressed offense. You still have the Aruni gates in play, and you have to find critical kills. The death of Nawal, it's a 2v4. The defenders are cozy in sight. They're tucked in like a Christmas dinner, and you still have this angle. Oh, Hatchet Thumb could have pulled the trigger there, but they're not going to do so. Instead, they're going to be felled, but it's still the bane of the offense. It's the Aruni gate now broken down. The flat place charges could go off to find the Butte lurking towards the west, but with so little time, Scott, I think we're going to see the College of the Holy Cross go for a hot drive. drop, and there's a drop. It's spicy, it's hot, but MBTS, they don't have the diffuser. 7 seconds left in the round. The defenders are completely spread out, unable to clutch it up. A 7-1 and 7 rounds in a row for New England College as they take map number 1 of Clubhouse.
Map control was such a important thing for the NEC there. They had map control on the first floor and second floor of that roam game they brought at the very beginning. Basically bots soloing out that entire section of the map. And it took them 2 minutes, 120 seconds to get control of that first and second floor before they were even given the slightest chance to drop down and try to take control over basement. And even when they do, even when they're picking up those frags across the board, they're still down to an even 2-on-2. They lose another one in the process. And what does NEC have to do? Just slightly pivot around some of the smaller construction areas down inside Arsenal and find the frag of the player who drops down from hatch when the information is given that MBTS was able to find a frag and had sent himself through it. It was perfection by NEC on the defense. There was some glimpses of struggling in terms of communication and coordination on the attack, but they really snuffed that one in the bud quite early on that second half.
And moving forward, it's going to be map number 2 of Villa, and unfortunately, Villa has a lot of similarities to Clubhouse. Communication is going to be critical. Good trolling is going to be critical, and you have to stay on top of that trade game. Scott, we're going to be taking a 5-minute break, but this is a perfect opportunity at the College of the Holy Cross to kind of deliberate, digest what went wrong, and prepare for map number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in 5 minutes. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the NECC. This is week number 6. It's a battle between New England College and the College of the Holy Cross. My name is Chief Cass. I'm checking in for the retirement home on my grandson over here, Infernosis. Scott, my friend, we saw a banger of a map. Map number 1, Clubhouse, a 7-1 for New England College. We're going over to Villa, so my friend, what can we expect? Is it going to be another dominant performance of New England, or are we going to see a more even showing potentially up to round 12?
Before we touch on that, I want to ask: are you my grandfather on my mother's side or father's side?
That's if I said both.
Because your hair genes come from your mother's side, so I'm hoping it's father, so I keep my hairline where it is for now. But yeah, I think from what we saw,
What, you don't like my hair, bro?
Yeah, I like your hair, not the hairline. A little bit too much.
It just goes back too far.
I hide mine a little bit. Try not to show the genetics there a little bit. I think the NEC is well equipped for this map. Just to be brutally honest, you mentioned at the end of game 1, at the end of map 1 there for the map of Clubhouse, that Villa is very reminiscent of that. It does require a lot of communication. It does require the players to work in tandem with each other a lot and to be able to quickly and decisively act off of the intel that's kind of relayed between them. And that's something that the NEC did a fabulous job at doing, and that was something that we saw the Holy Cross side struggle throughout. And if we continue to see the NEC play the way they did, I think they'll take this map without a doubt. And we just need to see Holy Cross maybe be reactive instead of adaptive throughout this match.
Well, let's rip the tinfoil hats off and let's dive into map number 2. Let's actually see what's going to be transpiring now. I was an absolute fan of the attacker bans on Clubhouse, Thatcher and Maverick. Unlikely that we're going to see Maverick banned here on Villa, but I really hope that they're going to lean away from the Jackal in favor of something else. And, you know, Scott, hear me out. I have been banning, in my ranked games, admittedly, pretty much LMGs exclusively on Villa because it's terrifying going against an LMGE or a Fink when they're just holding mouse 1 perpetually, right? I mean, it's terrifying to go against.
Yeah, I have to agree. And seeing the bans go through, I would be very expectant to see the bans for the attack go as a Flores next on the map of Villa. Collegiate teams just don't really like facing off against that. I agree. It's a little bit boring, but it's an expected result.
That's more boring.
Jackal. That is... It's something. It's different-ish, but it's not a big ban, right? It's not something you see that often on this map that's going to have as much of an impact as, say, another operator will be. But obviously, CHC has a plan, and we'll have to see how they necessarily use it. Lex want to be banned for them, and their last will be that mirror, getting rid of those black mirrors and making it difficult for the defense to sit pretty behind some of these walls while also gathering that necessary intel to hold on and be such a troublesome force on that stronghold positions on the D. And now the NECC will get the last ban. Sorry, NEC will get the last ban. I'm so used to saying our league here that I just can't help it when there's one letter off from it. They'll take out Kayid, not a huge shock.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think Valkyrie is by far a terror here on Villa, more so than Mira. Because Mira, you can destroy the mirror windows from every single part of the map. Because every single part of the map, excluding the basement, where there isn't a bomb site, is soft. So if you have enough team communication, you just clear the bottom floor or the top floor, if it's a mid-floor site, and you can remove the mirror window with very little utility. You bring a Buck, you bring an Ash, you bring a Zofia, you bring a Jackal with a pocket heartbreach, or the pocket shotgun. Heck, you can even bring, I don't know, a Gridlock with her pocket shotgun. Like, you have so much flexibility to deal with those mirror windows, but Valkyrie cameras, as we mentioned earlier on Dubhouse, they can be put literally in any possible corner, and the only way for the attackers to know about those cameras is either have a drone when they're thrown, look at the right position at the right time, or bring out an IQ, the worst of those options, because again, IQ does not have a lot of useful utility. Sure, she identifies gadgets, but again, the lack of strong secondaries really costs IQ and kind of makes her a liability in the attacking lineup. So Valkyrie can be quite a terror, but not actually being brought out here by New England College here in round number 1.
Now, let's put back on the tinfoil hats for a moment here. You talked about putting a scope on the M870. I think Finka needs to be nerfed. Like we've mentioned, she's really strong. She needs no nades. She's a little strong. She's a God 6 in nades. It's ridiculous. Let's give IQ, at the very least, nades. A God 6 would be nice if she doesn't already have it. I never see her, so who even knows what
we don't want her to have nades. Did you play her in year 1 with nades?
I did, yes.
But yeah, she was not fun to play against.
She's terrible now, and she needs that assistance. I think that would bring her to a point of utilization, maybe a bit much, but we can always turn her back from there. Some of these lesser played operators just struggle so much. We mentioned how I was worried previously that Thorn would not get played, and you kind of eased my woes earlier at the beginning when we were kind of vamping before the game started. I don't want to see some of these older operators never get that point of contention, never getting played. It's so worrisome. It's so sad to see these underutilized operators never get brought to the fray. And notice now what is getting brought to the fray. Rotero drone sent, and that's going to be that shield that bot was hiding behind that's removed quite quickly.
You know what? I want to continue the subject because it's always fun to talk about. Honestly, I don't think she needs nades. Give her the Gon 6 and give her flashbangs or a pocket thermite charge, take away her claymore, and then suddenly she's viable and able to be played in the lineup. Like, again, the problem is she just can't burn utility, and unfortunately, OIU is going to be burned. But again, like, utility clear, sure, we're not in utility consumption simulator like we were a year ago, but it's still important, and operators have to either be able to destroy utility or burn the utility to have somebody else destroy it. And IQ just simply can't do that unless you go in from underneath. Again, sometimes that can be somewhat of a liability. Trades taking place here at the halfway mark in the round, and I told you, ban the LMGE. It's a terror weapon.
What if they gave IQ a gadget as a secondary that went through hard walls that allowed her to destroy one piece of utility through it? Any
then
hard
that
wall.
wouldn't be a secondary then. That would be a primary. Like, that'd be a little broken, Heike.
I know, but I mean, just you won't want nades on her.
God
Give her something
6
else
and a
that's broken.
flashbang, bro. God 6
Bring
and
her
a
back.
flashbang.
Just let IQ thrive.
No, that's whack. God 6 and a flash.
We'll have to see,
Or
though.
pocket
Maybe the
thermite.
changes will go through. Something's got to happen, though. Something's got to give it.
Agreed.
Ubisoft has to be the people who give it. But a 3-on-4, despite all of our talking throughout this one, it looks like the NEC are in a little bit of the back foot as they're holding on with only a Jaeger, a Maestro, and the Bandit to go forward. And notice the Bandit's not rocking the M870 this time around. Instead, it is that MP7 that they're trying to utilize, and there's still plenty of utility on the attacking side to work with. Last Rotero drone now being sent out by moving 3, and as it detonates, it doesn't really find that much utility. Instead, just kind of creates space and guarantees it for the Holy Cross side. Pancakes being quite mobile on site behind Couch, and will use that mobility to their advantage, cutting the head off of Spy, and now dropping us to the 3-on-3. No retrade going through, and it looks like MBTS is in a fight for their life as well, trying to survive through that main landing section.
So much barbed wire. That's going to give away the push of the college or the Holy Cross, but they still find themselves on site with diffuser, but with one player left. They're not mindful of the foot level holes, and the flank in from Classical is just going to be a little bit too much for them. Time management in the end, Scott, was their undoing. And also, we have to go back to the opening death. They suffered the opening death, and a brilliant double trade to shift that in favor of the Holy Cross with that LMGE. But again, time management and utility consumption really cost the offense. It's kind of unacceptable to be sub 10 seconds with 2 sets of barbed wire in the Classical hallway. You mentioned the RCXD drones, the explosive drones of Flores. A beautiful job to deal with the deployable shield, but what about the Maestros? What about the Valkyries? What about the barbed wire? There was still so much for New England College that even with the man disadvantage going into that execute, they were quite calm, cool, and collected.
Now, I want to point out something that was a major misgiving from CHC that should have been dealt with very early. It was Beam, who was holding the exact same spot the entire game at top of main stairs, hiding not behind a shield like a lot of players will place there, instead just using that slight ledge towards the staircase as well as the actual, what would you call that, cabinet? I don't think it's really a cabinet. Maybe it's like a dresser, a side table, whatever you want to call it. They're utilizing both of the actual site and actual map placements to gain sight lines. They got the opening frag off beam, they got the final frag off beam, and they got the frag right before that off beam as they swung towards the side of, unfortunately, the Classical hall. You have to clear that player out. And CHC's retreat away from that study side as well as through that study window side to go back towards main Benjamin, clear from this southern edge, created a lot of problems. Sorry, northern edge created a lot of problems for them, and they never dealt with the very, very successful player Beam in that round.
Once again, Valkyrie, not on the board for New England College, but they've been bringing out another information operator. That's going to be the Alibi. Man, I adore Alibi in one particular aspect. Sure, the MX4 Storm is an awesome gun with its 1.5 times sight and an angle grip. It's a laser beam even after the nerf, but I'm not here to pitch MX4 supremacy. I'm here to pitch ACS 12 supremacy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me right. The ACS 12 is in play. If you're scratching your heads on what on earth is this piece of gadgetry, well, it's a fully automatic shotgun that shoots slugs. It's quite terrifying, just like the death that Beam suffered. A little bit lost in the sauce there. Not really sure where the push was coming from. The indecision cost them, but at least they were decisive on their ACS-12. And let's be real, Scott, that DMR slug shotgun hybrid thingamabobber can be quite terrifying, and it can also two-shot you. So you don't want to be anywhere near it when it starts to spool up.
Notice Beam off the board, the player I was speaking so heftily about, now no longer a point of contention in this round, and also losing the first pick is a bit of a foreign concept to the NEC, so that could definitely be a worrisome thing for them, now making it 2 players down as Trojan Op bites the bullet there of moving 3. And now it's a 2-player advantage for the CHC side. Can Holy Cross continue to adapt off of this, or will they fail and fall short just a little bit? Time will have to tell. With the ACS-12 in hand, then Bot has a lot to worry about, and you've talked about how dangerous this weapon can be, and we've yet to see it really find the impact that's necessary to give them a better chance. MBTS from Astronomy Stairs, no bathroom it seems like, is actually able to find one more, dropping this to a 2v5, and Bot's forced to kind of pick up that placement, sees the body, can swing it, and does just that, but cannot find the kill just yet. Too many shots and too much time wasted, but eventually MBTS will fall with only 58 seconds truly on the clock. It's still a major point of recovery necessary for the NEC, and Pancake's trying to do just that, finding 2 from Red Stairs, cutting down Nawwal and Spy, and putting us back in a good spot for the NEC.
Oh boy, this is somewhere we should not be. The Holy Cross had the man advantage by +2. The diffuser was just isolated, and they're going to have to retreat over to Zombie to do so. But what about the flank that's taking place? Pancake is going to suffer some damage, and that was them trying to come in from behind. But they're still a lurking threat. And now the offense has to decide what's the less of the evils. They're going to go directly into sight. They've retrieved the diffuser, and there's the ACS-12 to clean up shop. And all of a sudden, the offense just crumbles. A huge mistake, the fatal funnel being their undoing. They stalled out on their attack, and from there, it's all downhill.
Man, the NEC is a team of recovery. This is a team that, despite things starting to fall short on them, starting to struggle as the maps go on and these rounds start to go further and further for CHC, they do not care. No care in the world about it. That's the second time now we have seen them be in a position where they're down a player, that one down 2, and yet they still recover, and they didn't need the last 15 seconds to do it where CHC were forced to run through. Instead, a flanking player was all that was necessary. A great roam by Pancake to set themselves up for 2, letting the alibi on site just feed as they try to entry in, thinking that, oh, there's a player behind, there's only one on site, let's push, and they don't respect the ACS like a lot of people fail to respect the ACS, and that's a very poor decision. NEC now with 2 rounds up and ahead. They get to head on over to my favorite site in the game of R6. I don't know if you know this one, Chief. I adore Kitchen and Dining because it's so reminiscent of the older stylized maps of R6 and these older styled objectives. You see castles, you see pulses, you see mutes, you see cap cans a lot of the time as well. All of the older stay operators and very little of the new.
You know what? I've never actually heard that before. I hadn't even articulate that thought, but you're absolutely correct. Very rarely are we going to see those old operators. I mean, sure, Maestro has been a legacy operator, and I think they fit in with this lineup perfectly since, well, they did come with this map after all, and Malusi at a time was one of the Nitrocell wielders, currently losing that Nitrocell in favor of Bulletproof Camera, and she is an excellent operator because she has these proximity gadgets, these DJ devices. Her Banshees will open up, create a large amount of noise, and alert the defenders that say, hey, I think there's an attacker in this sector of the map, so she'll fit in perfectly with this defending lineup. And the same thing can be said with the offensive lineup right now for the College of the Holy Cross, because they're doing, well, the traditional take, not the new school flashy flavor where you push in actually from the south of the map through study or through the first floor of living room, do a more linear take. They're going to be more focused on establishing their vertical, and with a buck in play as well as a sledge, they're going to have more than enough surface area, and you start to incorporate the 2 sets of flat place breaching charges. New England College, they're going to need to start to come with some very creative solutions to remove this soft destruction utility.
Now, there are 3 main stylized attacks for this objective. 1, take control of the second floor. It doesn't matter how you do it, but once you do second floor, create that open floor plan and start to remove the resale value here of this villa. That's what we're seeing being done right now by the CHC side. And unfortunately, while they have lost one of MBTS, they do get the refrag back onto Hatchet Thumb and will at least give themselves an equal footing. The second approach here is actually to take control of second floor, drop through Skylight, and start to take Memo, clearing Memo and working from there inwards with a second player or maybe even a third player working from Laundry. And then the last strategy, which has been so popularized, is actually going through Pantry with a very swift rush onto site. That's your three main objective approaches that you see a lot of attacking teams do. Now, there is some variation on those, but that's typically the three, I guess you would say, mainline strategies. And what we're seeing right now is the tried and true one, the original, the OG, that second floor Buck and Sledge domination. And while the high ground is in control for the side of CHC, the NEC hasn't really been punished yet, according from it. And it will take some time for CHC to be able to pounce, but they'll do it again. OIU onto bot, but guess what? Traded instantaneously with Beam finding moving 3.
Scott, where on earth does Beam come from? They're always just flanking in from behind, and they're good for their third kill? Are they on for the ace, my friend? Like, how do you remove Beam? This is why I despise Jackal bans, because, well, College of the Holy Cross could deal with Beam with a Jackal. But they elected to ban that operator, and Nawal, now the only one left for their team, 23 seconds, diffuser in hand, and a plethora of castle barricades in their way. And that's going to be quite a pickle for them to break down, as well as the big in camera still up. So they're being constantly monitored. Now the time continues to dwindle, and since you have 3 defenders to find, you're going to have to do some miracle play. And, well, there's a miracle. That's going to be Beam finding a 4K, a brilliant round for them, and that's going to be 3 in a row for New England College, continuing on their warpath of domination.
The Grim Reaper in round 1 and round 3. We'll have to see if Beam can continue to be the burial ground digger. What do you call the? Is it Gravekeeper? I think is the term. No, you have like the. Yeah, I mean you have people inside of like graveyards that like keep them kempt and like will actually be the ones who dig the graves. I think it's Gravekeeper. Because there's a nice little indie game that's like you're a gravekeeper and you have to do.
Mortician?
But
no, that's
no,
that, no,
no, it's not a mortician. That's like oh no.
And that's the person that
I think
starts the process. You're talking about the person
Yeah.
that ends the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you what, Beam definitely ended the process for sure. Difficult. Bot unfortunately accidentally doesn't pick, and it auto picks Thorn for them. So the side of NEC will get the TK. Hatchet Thumb being the player to finish things off for it, and I don't know why, but they accidentally tagged
That was a bot move, eh?
as well. But that's funny actually. It happens. You know, these things occur. Thorn's not allowed just yet. We'll have to see it in playoffs. I think it's really interesting that we allow it in playoffs of all things. But it'll be interesting to see who brings it out. Probably won't be brought out Navigators in the lower divisions, I don't think, Brian. But higher divisions, I'm sure that they've been waiting and are looking for that strategy. But with 3 rounds in a row for the NEC and those rounds that looked like they should have gone to the Holy Cross side, I'm starting to think there could be some mental chalking if they're not careful. They've got to find a round win, at the very least keep their moral stand up tip top.
And this is the best opportunity for the College of the Holy Cross. You're given a free man advantage. You've lost bot and all of the precious utility that would go with an operator, not only primary utility, but as well as the secondary gadget utility. So the College of the Holy Cross in an excellent position, but they still have to be very mindful. They have to dot their I's, cross their T's, taking their map control, and making sure that there aren't any lurkers in odd positions. They have a good cutoff established in 90 through the upside down rappel, and in fact, it looks like New England College was attempting to play in that sector of the map, Scott. So with the upside down rappel, that's actually going to force NEC into kind of an awkward predicament where they have to decide where they want to play, and they're actually already anchoring in a bomb site. That's not a lot of flexibility for the defenders to work around with. So if CHC is able to kind of manipulate this, they're going to put themselves in an excellent position.
Oh, Terror Drone sent in. They're still trying to funnel out Beam. Beam's playing the exact same angle that garnered them first pick in round 1, if you remember that correctly, as they managed to take out that study window player who was perusing their way onto study to clear sites and kind of failed to do so quickly. The Plants and Games Room's objective is a difficult one to approach, especially from study side. Even if you're able to send all your players inwards, it's hard to get those walls torn down, and Mr. Gorbachev is not always there for you and not always available to tear down that wall. And looks like CHC are aware of that. They've rotated on over to the northern side of the map, now perusing towards landing and hoping to take down that landing door, as well as being able to go through that classical hall, which unfortunately for them was Beam's hunting ground, same as the position they've been lying in wait the entire time, as they'll find yet another kill. This one onto OUI, and now you'll see CHC start to peruse classical in hopes that they can maybe catch Beam, and if they don't, well, expect Beam to catch them instead.
Well, That gunfight's going to be taking place over by 90 as CHC has established themselves as nice beachhead here. They're still being mindful of potentially a member of NEC to spring out from the map's door. And look at all the gun barrels trained towards Classical Hallway. I think CHC is kind of prepared for Beam to do their shenanigans. Don't look now, Scott, but look who just lost their life. The top frag of NEC off the board, and this is a perfect position for CHC to be in. But with 40 seconds left, and no real established foothold in the bomb side or any avenues through utility, they're going to have to start to expedite. It actually might be an abandoned bar, so that could be their avenue in. The LMGE finds an additional kill, and with one player DBNO'd and one player on their back low HP, and it could be either team in this final brawl.
Spies in a 1-on-2 effectively as moving 3 has been DB and O'd, and it looks like Hatchet Thumb and Pancake will step up to finish off the job. Pancake being the player with the shotgun to handle it in the end, as we saw the NEC not bring out the Mossberg last time. We saw it on map 1 where they played basement, didn't want to actually clear any of the walls, using that utility instead use impacts on their Valkyrie to do it, and then having their Vigil roam. It was interesting. We called it out. We pointed it out a couple times, but ultimately the NEC comes out on top once again. We're 4-0 at this point now on Villa. Their defense has been, I think the term we can use is insurmountable, as the CHC side is struggling quite heftily to get through. And I want to point out, even though Beam is felled, and that is the top fragger by far for the NEC, you were looking at a 3-on-4, 3-on-3 at that time, where 2 of the players for the NEC had 0 kills at that point, and yet they still step up and they find themselves the perfect position. Hatchet alone, who was the other player at 0, found 2 in the last 30 seconds of that round. Trojan unfortunately did lose their life, now still at 0, but Pancake steps up as well, and that's the reason why they're the second top fragger now for the NEC.
Well, I have a question for you. Is it actually insurmountable? Because, I mean, we've seen NEC on the back foot more than once with a large man disadvantage, and they simply just clutch. Like, players go nuclear, and they just simply win their gunfights. But to be at that man disadvantage by that many players, 2 players, I mean, that shows the defense stumbled and made mistakes, and they're just kind of getting bailed out. And it's really on CHC to finish their execute, because if you have a 4v2 going into trophy like they did back in round 2 and you throw that away, that's kind of unacceptable.
I feel like it's insurmountable because of the guerrilla style warfare that they're employing. Yeah, the NECC, they have these footholds. They have these stronghold positions that they're holding on to, but oh no, we're not seeing Amaru, are we? Oh, it's about to go through grappling
hook. It's a shotgun, the Nova!
No, the sniper!
And Hatchet's here.
Sniper? DMR Amaru? That shotgun has so much range, actually. I'm expecting that to actually do.
Yeah, but if you miss your shot, you're dead.
Yeah, probably. They may combo this.
Oh,
Candela,
no way.
actually.
They're going to Candela in through, so they're going to place the Candela on the barricade, and then they're going to Maru in. There's just no way it works, and they're still flushed. No. They are not placing it right. That's so difficult to do, to be fair.
Maybe? We're seeing this? OIU's trying to get it to set up. Looking for it.
Come on.
Come on.
Just shoot it at this point.
There you go. Place it in. There it is. On to the reinforcement. Now they're going to send it in, and the Amaru swings on into sight. Sniper in hand. It does not work. The DMR falls, and Pancake's the player to collect the kill. But OIU gets a pretty instantaneous refrag back. CHC aren't in the worst position, but they've already lost 2, needing moving 3 to find 1 more. This one onto Beam to actually set themselves up. Now the 2 top fraggers for the side of NEC are off the clock, as Beam and Pancake now relegated back to cam duty. And they have plenty of those, considering they're bringing out the Valkyrie with a little bit more success in these later stages of these rounds.
Kaboom! That was one of the cap cans going off. Now it's moving 3 that's going to suffer that damage. Still 1 more the nanobots to activate, but being felled by the ACS-12, no more nanobots to anybody of the College of the Holy Cross. And with Skyseed taking a ton of damage, they're just isolated over in the bathroom. I mean, this is such a fatal funnel, and Hatchet Thumb loses that? Well done to Spy, but the Nitrocell close quarters forced to go for a crazy play. That's going to be the Capcan entry denial device to stop that down. OIU pushes up the Astro stairs at a 180-degree crossfire, but breaks it down with an expert precision. With the player stuck by and down underneath the desk, Bot won't be able to retrieve their fallen comrade unless IOU falls off. That's exactly what they do, so it's going to be back up to a 1v2, and Bot's on full HP. Their comrade in crime on 20, but at LMG will be good to find the Valkyrie with 1 shot.
Yeah, I love Ying so much, to the point that when I don't play her, people message me and goes, "Why are you not playing Ying right now?" Just because I'm so known to bring out the LSW and just tear through by never letting go of that left click, and could definitely be a strong weapon to contend at this point. Not much HP to their name. 10, maybe, I think is about the number that I'd give that. Maybe even a little less than that at this point. And only 10 seconds to actually push through, and double sightlines are held. And it's Bot who finds that last kill to send us on into the next round. The NEC holds on once again, and it's less of that guerrilla warfare style in that last round and more of them actually playing the defense a little bit more tried and true on that objective. But when they're able to play to their key strong points of that guerrilla warfare, they are so, I would say, annoying to have to face off against, because you never know where they're coming from.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking to see the College of the Holy Cross find themselves at a 5-round deficit. It's beyond critical, Scott, that they find victory here on their final round of attack. Because if they don't, it's going to be 6-0. They're going to move over to the defending set, where they'll have the advantage, but they'll have 0 mulligans to burn. They're going to have their backs against the wall, and if they make one single mistake, not only will they lose Villa, but they will lose week number 6 there, and they're going to find themselves falling 2-0, and that's going to be a position that just won't be comfortable for the College of the Holy Cross. So they have to be very mindful of their attack. They have to remember how to be successful, how to use the skeleton key, use a sledgehammer to maneuver and manipulate the defenders down on the A and B bomb sites, put them in awkward positions, kind of corral them like cattle. And then once they're stuck in a corner, their backs against the wall, that's when you spring the trap and pounce on them. So far, we've yet to be able to see College of the Holy Cross do that, but they're going to have to do it here in round 6.
Let's talk about the positions that we are expecting to see the NEC hold, and more specifically where Beam is holding. Was holding down Pantry Staircase and was watching the hatch available in that direction down in that basement side to cut down 3 alone the last time we saw CHC attempt to attack this. And they did go for that top-down approach previously, and I expect to see the exact same thing here, but still plenty of viable options. I mentioned the 3 mainstay avenues of approach, so to say, and while the mainstay one is to clear out this top floor, it's a little one-dimensional despite it being a multi-level approach, because you're expected to do the exact same thing every single time, and it's just a get it done, do your job, and then go from there. And I feel like that's where a lot of teams have shortcomings. They don't choose to adapt on the fly to what needs to be done. So when they lose one of their important players, like they did with MBTS very early in that round, I think it was Bot who actually was on that roam when we last saw this, it causes them to fall short, and it feels like they've had their Achilles tendon cut, and it creates a lot of problems. But speaking of problems, Bot is trying to be one of those, now placing a shield at the door of Astronomy leading over towards Statuary, and is holding down the position, wary of the siege that the CHC side are trying to employ, but not struggling whatsoever to take away the information and cut down all these drones.
Well, in the process of slicing and dicing ligaments, Bot has elected to not bring out the surgical scalpel. Instead, they've kind of brought out a sledgehammer or a butcher knife, and Pancake with a surgical weapon is going to find the first kill. Bot's going to get felled, so no more butcher knife on the table, and that's going to be full control of the College of the Holy Cross on that top floor. Now you can start to use a sledgehammer, the flat place breaching charges that MTBS has, and now you can start to manipulate the defenders with any flavor that you like. However, Beam has just retaken Deer. They found the diffuser carrier, and there's no communication! They find 3 kills! It's a catastrophe upstairs! And again, this is the avenue to match point. This could be the penultimate round, and Beam is making it look easy. Now, since they have the diffuser, though, they might have the audio of somebody lurking up the Astro stairs. They don't check the corner, and MBTS, an alt walk with full information, could find plenty of kills, but they have no idea what could be on the other side of that wall.
I have mine bound to caps.
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have mine bound to Q.
Push to talk. Really? That's interesting. Because I like push to talk on alt. But speaking of pushing to talk, not a lot of talking between CHC, and that's why we're seeing what's kind of unfolding before us unfold the way it has been. Beam could swing out quite quickly, and MBTS could lose their life. Great flick to Hatchet Thumb, utilizing any and all audio cues to their advantage, but Beam swings anyways and finds the last kill, setting themselves up once again to go even further above and beyond on that scoreboard, padding the stats a little bit more. And let's talk about why this map has gone this way and some of the shocking points about it. Map 1 was the map pick of the NEC. Map 2 here on Villa was the CHC Crusaders, and seeing it go this way, it is a somewhat defensive favored map, but not a 6-0 defensive favored map. NEC just look comfortable, and they are thriving.
We're going to have to see if they continue on being comfortable with their feet on their desks when they move over to their attacking stint. Attack can be a bit more difficult, Scott, right? You have to kind of coordinate. You have to communicate, where sometimes on defense we've seen some lower teams just kind of uninstall their brains and just run around the map. But one of the talking points that you had back on Dub House, map number 1, was how well coordinated that New England College was. And we could literally see the communication, the lines of communication taking place throughout the duration of their attacks back on Clubhouse, because you can see how the gun barrels were kind of being changed when pressures and needs required that, whether or not it's somebody on the roam from a drone or whether or not somebody was getting particularly aggressive in a particular sector of the map. And now we're going to have to see that once again here, and maybe only once, because if it's a 7-0, it's honestly probably pretty likely.
Yeah, I think the NEC have put themselves very well equipped for it. Look at Trojan using the attacker repick to their advantage right now, switching off the Nomad to the Nomad and trying to
Brilliant.
maybe trick out something. I'm sorry, they can't see it. Not as much of a thing, but I am interested to see what Hatchet Thumb is attempting to do, is switching off the Maverick that was banned last map, and we talked about so much how heavily important their emphasis and their role can be in these games. Now switching over to Glass, trying to utilize that longer range scope to maybe catch a player or two off guard. I feel like the NEC maybe feels really comfortable taking down that master bedroom hardwall, leading over to Statuary, so they can utilize not just their 1, but their 2 sniper scopes to have that long-range prowess cat down the CHC defense.
I know that I've been talking about that I am a disciple of the OG Red Dot, but new school Red Dot on the Glass sniper rifle is actually broken. There's literally like 0 bezeling, and it's just a dot on your screen. It's incredibly awesome, and I highly recommend it. Just like the position of MBTS. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that, though. That can be kind of a awkward position to play in because, well, if you're droned out, you're gonna die. And the same thing for moving 3. But they're not droned out. In fact, they're actually sneaking in from behind. They could find a free kill. Hatchet, they're looking for that, but they don't actually know where the player is over in maps, and this is a perfect opportunity. You just have to be very cunning with the gunfights that you take. You have to realize that since you are this 180-degree crossfire, prioritize the person who can shoot you and then shoot the other one in the pack. So it's actually going to be the study player. That's going to be more important. But there's the flank, and where is the Glass sniper rifle? They're now just reacting, but they have no idea where that player's went. They know that they're somewhere over by plans and games, but in fact, they've actually left through Zombie, as I call it, also known as Skull.
It feels like moving 3 maybe bounced a little bit too slow, as Beam had actually found their opening pick initially, taking out Nawwal, and then obviously gets refragged back. But now Hatchet Thumb can go on that roam, can play the flank, try to cut moving 3's pivoting position off guard, but the next player to pounce will be for the NEC, as Pancake manages to take out MBTS. No Valkyrie can now only utilize their cams in the afterlife. No repositioning of them any further, and no utilizing that MPX that I'm absolutely so fond over. Hatchet needs information. Players need to be on drones. We're not seeing as much droning right now from the NEC as we did on the initial map of Clubhouse, and obviously Hatchet Thumb is quite on the tip of their toes as they worry about the window being broken directly next to them and panic for a moment, flicking up to it, thankfully not shooting their teammate, but notice just how quick the NEC wants to push past this point. Pancake will take out OIU. Spy is quite low on sight after already being DBNO'd in the process. They can start to plant down this diffuser. They don't cover Pancake in the position. Trojan will have to go for the refrag instead, and moving 3's on the flank, able to find one more, but finally sent on out. The recover, the refrags, the NEC continues to do what they know best. The even trades galore. They'll take it flawlessly, 7-0 on the map of Villa.
Extremely well done to New England College today. A strong performance on Clubhouse, a 7-1 for them, and then they wrap up their opponent's map choice, the 7-0. I mean, they're the definition of perfection today. They played brilliantly. They roamed together as a team, and they were honestly playing the trade game like no other, and that's truly the asset and the tool chest of NEC. It was their ability to literally dig themselves out of the grave, whether or not it was Beam in a or Beam and Bond in a 2v4 twice in that game. I mean, they should have lost plenty of rounds, but honestly, the College of the Holy Cross just simply made too many mistakes. In a game like Rainbow Six Siege, when you bury yourself in a deep hole, sometimes the hardest thing to do is climb out of that hole, and unfortunately, CHC was unable to lift them out of the hole that they dug.
Yeah, and I talked about it. I touched on the NEC's defense about how they liked that guerrilla warfare. There were some rounds where they would just sit in an anchor position and hold there the entire time. Beam was the biggest provocateur of that, essentially, as they held out towards Lamp on classical main stairs, and they just dominated from that position every time we saw the Planes and Games objective and were never cleared by the side of CHC. That's a problem that they cannot allow to happen in any game, let alone a one that's important like this one, where they already were on the back burner after that map 1 performance. And to make matters worse, Beam on all of the other objectives refused to stand still, refused to anchor, instead quite literally was just everywhere yet nowhere at once. The mobility of a player like that who played Jaeger for a majority of those rounds is unprecedented. You don't see that as often. Roaming is very popular. It is a normalized strategy. Everyone's going to do it, but the reason why I called it guerrilla is because he was not roaming in your standard positions. He was not roaming like you would usually home to taking pit, taking control of the library, trying to play from mud, doing all these different standard first floor roams, instead just holding one position that's in a corner, basically digging himself into a hole and only crawling out to get 1, even 2 or 3 kills on top of it.
Scott, my friend, it's been a pleasure casting you today, but as you know, the retirement home, they do have operating hours, and they're telling me that they're going to boot me off my internet, pardon me, my dial-up. So, it's time to wrap things up today. Scott, as always, I love casting with you. I had a blast. Congrats to New England College for their strong victory today. They're 2-0. I want to take the time to thank the entire admin team here at NECC for all the lovely work they do. Zaysho, our producer, Shinobi, our observer today, and of course, once again, you, my friend. Zaysho just told me ratio. That's very rude, my friend, so I'll ratio you with this outro. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week for week number 7.
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice. And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Wow.